out of the way. It's, this 2D is really hard for me. It's weird. I just prefer being in 3D. So you know what? Let me see if I can move out of the way here because I'm standing right in that.
She gone.
That's better.
Yeah. Okay.
You was giving birth one after the other. One after the other.
You know, Lana, you always make me laugh. Right now, I need to laugh. I'm so stressed. So thank you.
Honey, you know, and I feel like I don't want to be a bother to you all at all. You have to confront or talk to, not confront, but talk to Diamond this morning because of the time on my first thing. It says, you know, 9 o'clock for, you know, out west, out where you're at, which would mean 12 o'clock here. But then on the public thing, it's at 11 o'clock. And I was like, okay, so what time am I supposed to, or 1 o'clock. So I'm like, what time am I supposed to be there? You know, and then, so anyway, Donna happened to come into the room at the time that I was talking to Diamond. And she started crying.
Oh, Diamond did?
No, Donna.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Thanks for that, my friend. Hey, Alex, man. Great, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
Indeed. Thanks for doing the podcast. I listened. That was tight. Thank you.
Yeah, she was going to say something. She said, give me just a minute. She said, I've just got a message, and if it's bad news,
Yeah, great time.
if it's good news,
Absolutely,
if it's happy news,
yeah.
that's great.
Were you the guy who was going to do the podcast in VR?
So she had to
I know somebody was talking about that.
It made me feel so bad
Amanda
for
was
her.
talking about that a little bit, and
No,
I wasn't
I don't know.
quite sure exactly
I don't know
how those
what the
logistics
situation
might work.
was.
Yeah.
You know, it's not my advice.
But I was,
But,
you know,
she's-
I just
she's
don't know
just
if we get
got-
any sort of an
I
audio
don't
stream
know.
where
I
we
don't
could
think
Yeah, maybe you're right.
high enough quality to be able to pull down.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm thinking about it.
And she's got,
I think I would need two.
oh my gosh.
I would need two Alt-Space accounts,
I
one
mean,
running
I'm
on
pretty
one computer.
stressed.
Yeah.
And
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know
Camera
what she's
account.
doing.
Where have you tried the Engage platform,
Well, I
Alex?
think it'd be okay. I just determined that
Yeah, I like
have to
that
be
for
careful because
kind of
still
fidelity and
doing
feel about it. It would be for me more conducive for a natural conversation, of a podcast nature.
Because,
Yeah.
like, when it goes to military time, it's 14 hours.
Exactly.
Two
Yeah.
o'clock, which would
I mean, if
be,
you were gonna,
you know, Pacific
if you were
time.
on stage and you were able to
But
turn
actually,
everybody
it's
off,
scheduled
Yeah.
for 2 o'clock
you need everybody
Eastern
else to
time.
woodwork.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know, Lana,
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
one of my.
Nice to meet you. What an event, eh? How cool.
Yeah.
I can't do them.
This is
It's
so
really,
cool.
really
Yeah.
hard.
It's been a little while since I've been in Alt-Space.
You know,
Right.
I'm really glad that Alex
Happy to be back in and check
stepped
it out.
into really.
Yeah, it feels like a tribe in here. It feels like family.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And I've talked to a number
I
of
still
people
can't
on
figure out.
Discord,
Go on.
I used to know how to like
volunteers, you know,
jump
who
to
are also
another
starting
location. I'm
to-
trying. I have
It's
questions.
one of the buttons, and it shoots a beam. So if I can jump to there. Which device are you using?
Right.
I've got the Oculus Quest.
So if you hit B, if you hold the B button, you should see a beam, and then let go and it jumps.
Would have meant, you know, it's our time.
Is that not working for you?
Myself.
There you go.
But the actual event
There you go.
is
So
at
that's
1
teleport.
I'm gonna be there.
That's good. That's jumping. Cool.
Now, which event is this, Lana?
All right.
That's the first
Well, I'll be co-hosting Tom Furness's Playing with Fire, so I'm gonna go get the live stream set up there, and then yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, is that Tom? No, that's Rob here. Hi, Rob. Yeah, so I'm just in the back of my mind is getting ready for that, but I'll see you around, man.
creating and engaging immersive education.
Nice one.
It's in the,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
in the,
Thank you. All right, man.
computer
All right.
science. But like I said,
Paula, hey Paula, how you doing? You
it
with
had
me?
it down for 3 different times, and then Donna looked it up.
See you in a
It
bit.
said it's actually between 11 and 2. You know, she did something, looked at something else, and I was like, oh my goodness.
This is so cool.
Okay, somebody said on the
This is so
megaphone,
cool.
messing things up.
Yeah, I know, I hear. It's right behind you.
Don, yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, all right, Alistair. You good?
You good?
Hey, John.
Hi,
He's so
Sue.
cool.
Can you
This is
hear
so
me?
cool. All right, Mark.
Daniel,
Yes.
Yes.
we have a bit of a problem with the long
Hi,
stream.
Sue.
I'm streaming from up there right now.
So you're
Sue,
live
hi.
streaming.
I am live streaming, and I'll be live streaming Tom Furness.
Can't hear you.
You'd be doing Thompson, okay.
Yeah,
So what I'm
Yeah.
thinking the issue was when you tested it earlier.
yeah.
I think it got mixed up between the two. So is it using that same event?
Hey,
Yes.
Carol.
I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm
Sorry.
not sure.
Let me have a look see what's actually.
Oh, there you
correct.
are. Okay.
Okay.
I went over to say
That's
hello
good way.
to. I went over to say hello to Sue, but I don't think she. I think she's muted or something because I could see her mouth moving, but I couldn't hear her.
I think I spoke to better person to talk to you.
Lana,
so I didn't want
is-
to keep you.
Is Donna in here? I don't see her.
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah,
see
for
her
some
either.
reason it
I
wouldn't
haven't
work.
seen her.
So could you finish
Yeah.
streaming?
I'm here
check
now.
the stream
Karen.
Oh, hi, Sue. I couldn't
That
hear
the
you.
stream key hasn't changed.
I had to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you now. I can tell you now.
Lock the door.
One second.
Yeah, I think it's what happens because you're using it.
Well, that's better than what
No,
my
it's the
dog
same one,
did.
Mark. I can see it.
It is
Because I was
Yeah.
in here talking to
Okay.
her from this stuff and my dog come in
some reason OBS wasn't
something
streaming.
terrible ringing
Okay.
out.
Don't know. I'm streaming to it now. Maybe it was
The
because.
German Shepherd up, I'm like, no.
I don't know when it was.
I don't know what it was.
Right, let me do Tom Furness. Well, I've got Tom Furness and then the VRA, and then we can regroup.
Yeah, because Vista from Engage.
Debrief, yeah.
Debrief,
Yeah.
Yeah, so he messaged me and we
I
tested
can't
as
hear
well.
either.
We had the same issue.
He couldn't stream either.
You know, I have my
What does your stream key end in? What does your stream key end in? 7991.
You know what?
Yeah, I thought
I'm sorry. Wait. Oh, I'm so.
Okay, but just tell me the last four digits. 7991.
It's not VIP. Okay.
Oh, hang on, we didn't
I
make
think so.
What? I mean, this is the place we're supposed to check in. We're supposed to log
let me
Right.
check. I'll get
at the,
And there should
the
be.
first
Yeah,
session.
Yeah, there
7991.
should be.
It's not streaming to
Yes.
it.
Where is it?
I know.
It's not streaming to it now.
Yeah, it was streaming.
So that's why I didn't know.
Oh, I see. I haven't checked if it's actually appearing. I'm just assuming. I've got a. It's saying live. It's saying
Yeah,
live to me.
we're in between events right now, so the next one's gonna be starting.
You're breaking up, Mark. Sorry.
That's 15 minutes from now.
Yeah, a bit better.
Right?
Yes.
Can you
Yes, correct. Well, I'm quick at the end.
Yep.
So, yeah, about 15 minutes from now.
yeah, you're seeing more,
But,
more video files.
so if we're volunteering for that one, I don't see a way to check in or a portal to get to that event.
No, so I think if you go to my events, my events, you should see it on there.
Well, I got this from the events tab anyway, so you know.
We are
It was
not
like
in
a-
the VIP lounge, we're in a social lounge.
Oh, the
I
Yeah,
was-
so this is live on my
I'm
mobile
going
phone.
to
I'm
move
picking this
over
feed
to
up.
the VIP lounge because I gotta check in.
Yeah.
So what was your question?
So the,
Yeah, I
so
should
if
probably
you
go
go
over here.
to
Karen?
on YouTube,
Yeah.
go to YouTube,
Yes.
at the top right, little YouTube picture, profile picture.
Yeah.
I got
You click on that, you see YouTube Studio.
Yeah.
You click on that,
Okay.
go to video.
speakers to see if they need
YouTube. I can't access YouTube Studio right now.
Ron,
Oh wait, can I?
Oh, because you're streaming.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. So I'm still stumbling with it, but that's
tell you what, let's do Tom Furness and the VRA, and then we'll see.
Okay,
Maybe we can
try and figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah?
But,
Yeah?
he's one about his Alvin.
Alvin Wine yeah. I will.
Yeah,
email
so
him.
it's happening in about 7 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go now, Mark.
Let me go.
I'm gonna go set up the Tom Furness event. I'll see you in there, and then I'll check my emails. All right.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. See you in a bit.
All right, see you.
Why is both of your accounts in here? You mean this? Because yeah, right there though.
Just adding to
You're probably not anything at all. Oh, I got really stupid Do you have the modern space?
This is the next event. It starts in 11 minutes. So that's already well, I like that.
I'm gonna head back to the campfire. I'll see somewhere.
Oh, fuck.
Who's this? Hey, hello! Hi, Ron.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I saw you wandering around alone.
Oh, okay. I was spending probably spent the first 10 minutes trying to troubleshoot my own mic. I was like, does anybody hear me? Anybody? Hello, hi, can you hear me? Not. But yeah, I got it working. So this is my first time actually trying to access Altspace through a 2D platform, like just a laptop with no headset. So I don't have do I have hands? Can you see?
They're hanging down on your thigh.
Okay, alright, okay, so that's one thing that's suspicious. People who are just PC, like myself, have their hands hanging on the side, got it. And you must be the headset. You must be the headset.
I have a Quest. You can tell I'm on a Quest because I have two hands.
Oh, that's true. So the one, I forgot, what about Vive? People in Vive or Rift?
I don't know. I generally don't meet people with those headsets yet. Although, I imagine it could be.
Okay. Okay, cool. So,
Are you a speaker or?
yeah, I'll be speaking. Are we done? I'm presenting with Andy. Bob Carlton on, or Bobby, not Bob, it's Bobby, and on Friday. Yeah.
Okay. Are
So,
you wearing?
I'm wearing, actually, honestly, currently wearing some Bluetooth headphones.
I'm getting an echo.
Oh no, okay, that's good to know. That's another reason why I'm in this room. I want to troubleshoot everything I'm currently using. So you're getting an echo.
Well, not now. Something changed. Maybe I was getting it from somebody else. Well, I think we're all. No, we're good.
I think you can get a test.
Nope. Gone.
Oh, that was weird. That was like a reload. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Can you
disappeared.
hear the echo?
No.
Okay,
No,
wonderful.
there might have been somebody standing near me that was getting the echo. So I thought it was you, but that's not.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's confirmed. So I was like, all right, troubleshooting. That's what today is for me, actually. Today is to get it all sorted. We have enough time to continue troubleshooting. We don't use it until Friday, so it should be okay. Are you presenting?
No, I'm co-hosting for a whole bunch of presentations.
Oh, love it. That's awesome. So,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Have you had a chance
yeah.
to practice? You know, your slides float up and everything looks good and everything?
Yeah, that's what we'll be in the middle. Oh, I can't wait to shoot Nick. Hi, Nick. He's over your shoulder behind you, Ron. Hi, Nick. Hey! I'm on a PC.
No,
I'm back. I'm waiting to see Ron in real life. Hey, Nick. Hi.
Ron?
Nick meet Ron. Ron meet Nick. Ron is hosts many events. And
Nice.
Nick he's the CEO of FSG, based out of Hangzhou, China. So I'm really glad you guys are getting a chance to meet. And Ron, you're co-hosting a bunch of events. What's your first event, Ron?
It's tomorrow at 6 p.m. And I don't remember what it was because it was one that foisted on me. I'll tell you in a second.
Wonderful. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be presenting with. Yeah, please do.
Jack, do you remember Jack? He was at the event you came to in Hangzhou and Wilson.
Yeah.
Also,
Oh, nice. Hi guys. Aw, good to see you guys. Look, I don't know how to high five. I do as a friend. Accept my friendship request, please. Wilson and Jack. Okay, good friend.
are you in China right now, Paul?
I am actually not in China right now.
That's probably for the best.
I'm in North America, and I actually was like thinking about everyone, and I keep following everyone's posts. We're all like working remotely, making it happen. And yeah, actually like, I think there should be a panel just about this, like this impact and the contingency plans and moving forward, and how to, like. I mentioned, chat a little bit about this experience. I'll be presenting on Friday with Andy Fidel and Bobby Carlton, and yeah, this has been a crazy past few weeks. How are you guys doing with everything?
We're pretty good. I love staying home, so I've been loving it. I'm on quarantine, so I just get to stay home every day, and hang out with my puppy Yoshi. So,
yeah.
2 thumbs up.
I love it. I know.
The silver lining.
Yeah, it hasn't been good for our business, but everybody's working home remotely, making the best of it, though.
Of course.
Sales
It's probably
team and
really
stuff.
good for VR though.
Yeah, I think it's good for the industry in general in the long term.
Yeah.
And
In the long
so
term,
it's
yes.
good for our business in the long term because we're a VR company. But for the moment, we're not signing any contracts or really bringing any money, which sucks. But yeah, it's like this is amazing. The fact like MWC is canceled, and now we're all
MWC
meeting
is
here.
canceled.
And this isn't going to be canceled for any virus or anything, so I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I know. High five if I could. High five on that. And
There we go, Tom.
yeah, all my
Everyone see this?
High five my face. All the conferences, all the face-to-face conferences around Asia have fully been canceled. This news hit reached us
Yeah, coming in now.
that week, that last week of January, at least in China, it was like, told all of us, all public gatherings, things like that, just need to be canceled. That they just rolled that out. And I was in the middle of getting ready to host like the largest global game
Are you okay controlling that?
You
It's
know,
still working,
it's
right?
a global game that happens worldwide,
Lovely.
and I was hosting it for
Fantastic.
Shenzhen. And so I was like,
All right,
I don't
what
want
an
it to be
opening
real. This is, we've all been planning for Paris, for so long. How can we make this happen virtually?
this the
That's
microphone
less than a
thing?
week. That's what we ended up doing.
So you have to
Still
grip
making the game jam happen.
Or is
All
that
of
a
these
pointer?
jammers, contestants,
Oh, sorry,
participated throughout China. We all
Don't let
met
it go.
just like this
There you
virtually.
go.
Still made it happen. So I'll be happy to share the
Sorry.
best,
Is
the
it
results
moving
of that
with me?
experience, especially for us. We're still in China and having to work remotely.
I do,
like
yes,
how to
I do.
keep moving forward. How to, I see this like an opportunity for us to
Does it move away with me?
because
Or is it
obviously
moving
like
for you?
our businesses to survive, like we need to.
Okay, that's weird, 'cause I
think of
see it.
alternate
I see it in
solutions.
my
We're not
vision.
quitters. We're not
Yeah,
going
it's
to cancel
really weird.
every single thing in our lives. We gotta
No, I'm good.
find
It's
solutions
just I
to
can
get
see
going.
it,
So
and it's
that's
weird.
why I would like love to think up what you make, and anybody else who has business
Yeah,
or
exactly.
any kind of project based in China, like
All right,
this is
anyway,
impacting our
we're
region
good.
really hardcore. So how we adapted to this, and I know your awesome WeChat group makes extra stories. Big, super active
the
group.
X at the bottom.
People are
The X at the bottom
starting
and
to
then
just this post about the security VR. They're like, oh man, I have a event
You
coming
can
up.
see yourself up ahead.
And it's been totally impacted by this the virus.
And then
I
so
can't-
just you
they
need
don't
to
want
just
put
turn
it in the
around
phone,
and
but they're also
click.
seeing, wow, this is a solution. This is legit. And they're wanting to come up with these panels that take place coinciding with them.
Slides back to one.
With their conference, when or with the XR story group, anybody in there who's wanting to do an event but virtually, I think that would be a great,
You seeing the
especially like
slides?
coming from China, like you can make it
Okay,
happen.
because I'm not now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we should throw some kind of event together. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, I can do
You're
this.
trying to get back to
Yeah.
the beginning?
Hey guys,
Love it.
the,
Okay.
the first event is about
Okay.
to start. You want me to open up
Oh,
the
nice.
portal?
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yes, please.
Tom,
Click
this
it,
is
right?
amazing. I'm super excited to hear this.
Let's do it.
Hey, Wenzel,
All right,
Click to
you know how
join.
to join in?
Do I click on the circle?
There you go.
I double clicked it. Okay. 4,
Anybody else?
5,
Oh, we're in. This is awesome. This is like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. Woohoo! All right.
Yeah.
Yes?
Hello.
Ah, damn, sorry, I just jumped out. I'll be right back.
This is my first time using the Quest in all space, so new experience. I feel like every time I come in, I'm learning new things with a new headset, and then
Let's see what.
home furnace.
Have you tried creating?
All right, you guys ready?
Have you tried creating your own world in here? In Ochoa?
First 1 minute.
You're breaking up just a little bit.
So, have you tried creating your own world in Ochoa?
No, I haven't.
And you like to try that?
All right, Tom. All right. Laurel, I'm just going to set up live streaming here.
Very
And Roger, do you want to join the conversation also?
I'm here, Tom. I'm here, Tom. Yeah, I'm just setting up live streaming. I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Okay. So. Oh. What have we got here? So who's filming this then? Maybe that's. I suppose.
Thumbs too.
Need to be over a little bit further, actually. Because these things are at the edge of the screen, right? Slides, yeah.
Yeah, the names that are showing at the moment.
Yeah, that's good. Hi, Mia. Is out there.
Hi, Tom. I'm with you. Where do you want me?
Okay.
I stand over the other side for now?
Oh, you be around my shoulder. Let me have my arm around your shoulder.
There we go.
There you go. How about that?
Oh, hi everyone. Welcome. Sorry, Tom. You're not on air, so Tom, if you could please go on air.
On air. How do I do that?
And for all of our mods that are here, I'm going to mute all for just a second here because some of our mods do not have Discord muted. All right, and are unmuted. So Tom, if you can make sure that you hit on air on your host tools because I don't see you in room 2.
Okay.
And there's Daniel in room 2. I need to have Tom on room 2. I don't hear you, Daniel.
I'm here.
So you're here?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just looking for Tom. All right, we're having, Tom, there you are. Your files your slides were not published as public to the web. So you can see them, but no one else can.
No, I can see them.
No, I can see them.
Yeah.
I can see them.
Yes, but we can't get them to work in room 2 because they're not public. And we just have the staff of all spaces trying to work with us.
Let me try
and do it.
Are you going to try to make them public?
That's what I thought
I had done.
I will try it again.
I will try it again now.
You have to go to File, Publish to Web, and then grab that link.
I thought that's what I did. Let me check.
All right, let's check it. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. And Tom, how about I ask you some questions while we're trying to get this fixed?
Sure.
Does that work? All right. So first of all, hello. So Tom. Yeah.
Well, I'm a grandfather.
Oh, well,
but I'm a kid.
Oh no, aren't we all? Isn't it amazing how VR is one of those things where, we've tried to find out what makes something viral, what makes something really connect, and what we found is it's something, the research and stuff in Adodo is we found that when anything that connects the mind, and it makes us feel like we're an adult and a child at the same time, like a Harry Potter. All the Harry Potter series makes us feel like, don't you feel like a child again, even though you're an adult? And VR brings out the child in us. So how does VR bring out the child in you?
Well, certainly I get to play in ways that I never would play otherwise, especially when I get into Beat Saber and act like a crazy person doing that. And I'm working on a project now, I'll maybe talk about later, where we're actually inhabiting an octopus.
An octopus?
An octopus, where we become an octopus. And the whole idea is to be able to communicate as a virtual octopus with real octopuses. Sort of like Jane Goodall, where she was trying to communicate with the chimpanzees. We want to be able to communicate with an alien intelligence, which is pretty much an octopus. Yeah.
That is. I think that's amazing. I think that's incredible. Oh, I love it. Now, when you first started out, so these people may not know, what was the first thing that happened to really connect you with VR? How did that enter your life?
Well, I was trying to solve problems, as I'll talk about in my presentation, that in my case, necessity was a mother of invention. And we were trying to solve problems, and we used VR. Wasn't called VR. It didn't exist. VR didn't exist at the time. And so we invented it. I invented it in order to help solve these problems. And so it did. And it solved not only those problems, it opened up the whole new world of what we could do with this technology. And so, that's sort of another talk in itself, is the journey. I'll tell a little bit about the journey, but still, it's been a voyage of discovery as well. Not only about the technology and inventing the technology, about the way humans work. I mean, as humans are really amazing. And
Isn't that an understatement?
yeah. And
Where they're messy and amazing.
Messy and amazing, that's right. Yeah, all over the place. But it keeps life interesting, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest? This is something I've been wanting to ask you for such a long time. What was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome early on?
Well, probably the biggest obstacle was the technology was really clunky back in 1966. You can imagine. Well, there wasn't any technology. We had to create it. And what happened, of course, is we had to not only be able to provide virtual images, be able to display virtual images, but we also had to be able to track where those images were located. So the tracking was really slow, and the update rates on the displays were really slow. So what happened is like you had a garden hose effect. You know, you turned your head, and a little while later the picture would move. You know, where it should be moving. And wow, I mean, so actually the biggest obstacle was making you sick. You know that. Yeah, it was like
even
the tail of a dog. You know?
Oh no!
It was like garden hose. You know the things.
Oh no!
Yeah. And so that was the early days. There were a lot of barfing, and we were in barfing.
Hasn't
space.
changed much.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's changed a little, but
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found, I thought it was fascinating, they found that there's a gene now, when they were researching this to find out, why people are throwing up and having nausea and stuff in VR, there's a gene that makes people inclined to have motion sickness no matter what.
There is. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting story. Another interesting story itself. What we discovered about motion sickness, and that indeed some people have more propensity for that than others. But our experience has been that actually women have more sensitivity to motion sickness than men. That's because men probably don't have any brains and don't have the kind of sensory systems that the women have. But probably because actually there is a biological difference, and the reason we get nauseous is because Mother Nature's built this kind of thing in, and when we see things that are not like they should be, basically Mother Nature says, well, you've eaten poisonous mushrooms, so vomit to get them out of the system, and that's the way it works. And more than you wanted to do.
Well, while we're vamping to getting the link and getting this all set up. All right, now I have the link. Let's see if I can get this in, and let's see if we can fix this.
Okay, Daniel, you still there?
I'm here and I can hear you, but the rest of the audio, I think I'm.
L'Oreal's dropped out here for a second.
Okay. All right. This is part, of course. We'll get there.
Yeah. Look at all the neat folks in the audience. And there's Tony and Paula. Is that right?
Paula.
Paula.
All right.
Bob and Jim. And Eva. Hi, Eva. Eva's probably static. She doesn't move too much right now, but she's a good girl. And she's in New York City right now. Yeah. And
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Michael?
So let's see here a second. Let me refresh.
Right.
Keep going. So you see all the other awesome people here?
Oh, awesome people. Yeah. Mark. And hi, Mark. And behind Mark is T. Leyland. And another Michael. And Akumi from Sweden. I like your outfit, by the way, Akumi. Yeah, and then next to Akumi is Summer Track. Yeah, hi, Summer. And
nice name.
And Tim, yeah. Oh, and you guys.
Tom, should we see where these people are from? Which continent they're on?
Sure, just have them. Yep. All right. So hit raise hand. Hang on a second.
Yeah,
No, do emojis. That's good. Emojis.
All right. So smiley faces if you're from North America. There he goes. Lots of people from. So let's have some hearts if you're from the Asia Pacific. I'm not sure if the time zone suits you, or we have somebody dedicated here. Fantastic. What about some tongue emojis if you're from the Middle East, kind of India to Dubai, maybe Turkey, that kind of area? We have somebody there. Fantastic. What about clapping for South America? Anyone here from South America?
Oh,
come on,
I heard some Asian, some Korean or Japanese earlier. So anybody from China, from Asia, from Japan, from Thailand, from any of that old area in there. Hawaii.
Lovely.
Well, isn't Hawaii? It's like its own place. All right. So I want to.
What about, we haven't finished.
Okay.
What about Europe? Let's some hearts for Europe. Come on.
Europe. How about some Europeans?
Wow.
Yay. Beautiful. All right.
There's one left. Anyone here from Africa? That would be very cool. Give me claps. Yes, we have somebody from Africa. That's amazing.
Yay. I love it. I love it. Antarctica.
Now, I just want to make a little point.
Okay. Well, hold on.
Make a little point.
Okay, quick point, and then we have to do
work towards the next time we do this. I want to have a lot more people from the other continents. Deal?
Yes.
We got to reach out to these people.
Absolutely.
We got to reach out to these people. All right.
Yeah.
Help us reach out.
Okay.
Right. Over to
Beautiful. Now, because we're in such pioneer new stuff here, we're going to need to reset the space. So as one of the employees at AltSpace says, we're going to hold on to your virtual butts. If you do crash out of the event space as we do this, please come back in. We have 2 rooms open and a third possibly on its way. So hopefully we're going to get these slides back up and working if Daniel did his job right. So are you ready? Hold on.
That was a bit anticlimactic. We're all still here.
So we should get
reset the space.
Tom and Daniel, make sure you have megaphone and on air is back on.
It is back on, but the space didn't reset, Laurel. We all stayed here. You left and then came back, and we all stayed.
You're kidding.
No.
You're kidding. Okay.
No.
So I reset. So I have to. Oh wait, Daniel, could you please go to? So it reset only the second space, and we still don't see the slide. So wait a minute before we start torturing people. So you guys vamp. Let me see if I can fix this. Okay. We're gonna fix this, folks.
All right. So as you can see, there are some glitches as we do this, but that's kind of par for course. It's where we're at right now. We all have to remember, like, we get used to this stuff working, and that's kind of also what got Laurel and me into this educators in VR. Where are we at with this? How well does it work? What are the pain points? If we want to get more educators into VR, or more people into VR, then we need to have solutions that are, ready to go out of the box. People like us here in this room, we're willing to overcome some challenges and deal with problems as we go along. But if you have educators in classrooms and they have to deal with this kind of stuff, it's gonna slow progress down. So if together we can fix the bugs, make suggestions, build stable places, help AltSpace develop well, like Laurel is doing in the background always, she's really developing it, then it helps all educators and therefore all students. And for me, reaching the students, the new generation, like my son and your kids and kids all around the world, that's what it's about. So let's work hard to make this really reachable and really smooth experience for learners all over the world. How are we doing, Laurel? Any closer?
Not yet. Working on it as fast as we can. So Tom, just still share with us what you want to say. Let's get on with this so we're working on the slides as hard as we can. I'm so sorry.
Right. That's okay. It'll happen. So, Tom, are you going to be speaking about any of your passion projects? I don't want to name the name yet, but you have one passion project that you told me about at AWE. Is that something in your slides as well?
Oh, yes.
Is that coming
yes, we'll be talking about this.
I don't want to jump the gun now. All right.
But, no, it's fine. So we have someone who has a hand up. Does that mean something special?
That is, so what's happening, you see the little bubble underneath it? That means they're in the second room. So that's how they display somebody in the second room, and they are using the raise hand function. And when they use that, so if let me see, can I use a raise hand function? I don't
Nope, yes, you can we can turn it on, but raising their hand means they're giving a high five. It doesn't mean they're raising a hand. It just means high five.
Okay.
Yep,
High five.
yep.
Okay.
Oh, we have slides. All right. So everybody who can see
Does room 2
slides,
see
please
them?
give us hearts.
Room 2
All
sees them?
right.
All right, we have slides
Excellent.
in room 1. All right, we got slides.
Lovely.
Okay.
Take it away, Tom.
Are you ready for me to rock and roll, huh?
I think so. Are we ready?
Everybody ready? Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, really, the first thing I'm going to do is thank you guys. What an amazing experience for all of us. I mean, for me, this is, I might as well just go home now. It's been done, Education for the children, the treasure of the children. And children meaning all ages, because we all have imaginations. We all have these essences inside of us, the things that we want to do and we want to be and we want to create. So that's what this is about. But thanks to Daniel and L'Oreal for this marvelous thing, and for Donna and others who've helped out. Thank you. And especially since it's volunteer and this is all free, and for the sponsors, fantastic. So, I just I sort of mentioned earlier when we had the opening event that back in 1994, we tried to do a similar thing. We wanted to try to build a virtual world in where people across continents could come together. We called this Green Space. Now, Green Space was because we were sponsored by Fujitsu in Japan, and Green Space has something to do with the Emperor. The Green Day is about a celebration of the Emperor. So we called it Green Space, where people would come together and things would grow, and we'd exchange ideas, and we would actually be able to be in a space together that does not physically exist. So you see in these slides, you see in the upper left slide where we're setting up for this. And the situation was we had 4 ISDN dial-up telephone lines between Seattle and Tokyo. And the upper left, you see a photo of where we're sitting in my lab, the HIT lab at the University of Washington in Seattle. And here I'm sitting on the right, and my friend Paul Danson, one of my students, is there on the left. And we're getting ready to enter into a virtual space. You see 2 headsets here on that green table. Now in Japan, the lower left signal photo, you see Dr. Masahiro Kawahata sitting at the Ikebukuro Pavilion in Japan. And he has a similar table. And he's sitting there with one of his colleagues with people gathered around. And so what we have in this is we're actually tracking hand position, head position, and we have visual input to each of us. So there are 4 people, 2 people in Japan, 2 people in Seattle, who are going to enter into the same virtual world. Now what we do is in Seattle, we capture all of our faces and send them to Japan. Japan captured their faces and sent them to us. And then both of us had a Silicon Graphics Onyx machine sitting next to us. This costs about $500,000. And these are all connected by these ISDN lines. So when we put on our headsets, we were transferred into a Japanese cottage. Here you see, if I grab my pointer, and I don't know if you can see my pointer, but here I am putting on the headset. When I put on my headset, I'm transported into this Japanese cottage. And what you see, here's me, and my face is animated with my speech. So it's actually my face, and as I speak, my mouth would animate. That was the avatars we were using at the time. And then, as you see, I'm in this cottage. Now, when I look across the table, there's my friend, Masahiro Kawahata, who's in Japan. Now, I'm in a cottage. When I look out the window, I see Mount Fuji. But when he's in his world, he looks out the window and he sees Mount Rainier, which is in Washington State, of course. Even though we're sort of in this same kind of virtual space, we're in sort of a different space. So what we would do then is take these, our hand position, we were wearing these gloves, we're tracking our hand position, and what we would do is take these gloves and we would then, they would turn into these paddles, these Japanese fans. And let's see if I can show you the Japanese fans right here. And what would happen is these three-dimensional creatures would sort of emerge from the table. Then our whole object was to move those things into those little creatures into the corners, into the receptacles, so that all four of us would have to cooperate in real time across continents to be able to do this. And so here I am waving to Dr. Kawata. We actually would shake hands by passing our hands through our friends' hands across the sea. And then here Paul and I are on our side, or in this game of trying to basically to hustle these, you don't see the creatures, but we do see the creatures. And we're using our hands to move them around on the table. Now this was pretty amazing, because here we were in real time speaking and had our animated faces across the Pacific. And over a 4-day period, we were interacting with each other about 8 hours a day. And we had about 350 people that were able to do this, 4 at a time, and children and adults and things like that. And it's quite happening. As a matter of fact, we were on the front page of the Wall Street Journal as a result of that. And the only problem was it cost us $35,000 to pay for the telephone bill, just to make the link between Japan and the U.S. So that was sort of a very early virtual world, sort of like what we're trying to do now, sort of an alternative space that we call green space. I thought you guys would like that as sort of a little story about some things that have happened in the past. What do you think? Mind you, it probably about $1 million it took us to do it, and all these phone lines. We don't have to do that anymore, right? Okay, so moving on. What I've been doing my whole career is pretty much introducing people to virtuality. And when we talk about virtual reality, it really comes from optical physics, the idea of a virtual image. What you see here on the top, of course, is a real image, and here you see it as a reflection, as a virtual image. Now, those mountains really aren't facing downwards. They aren't really there, but they appear to be there. And that's where virtual reality came from, that term. It has to do with a virtual image in optical physics that you are able to see. And when you stand in front of a mirror each day, you see a virtual image. It's there. Now, how do we harness that? And that's what I've been trying to do pretty much all my professional career. Now, just a snapshot of my career. I graduated from university in 1966 and immediately went into the Air Force. I was commissioned as an officer in the Air Force, assigned to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and my job was to develop cockpits for fighter airplanes. Here you see one of the fighters I was working on, the F-15 fighter. I actually flew in the fighters. I flew in Phantoms. I went past the speed of sound. I pulled G's. I did all the things that fighter pilots do, even though I was a flight test engineer. But the whole idea was, how in the world could we figure out a better way for these pilots to interface to a complex system? Systems where we had 75 displays and 300 switches, 11 switches on the control stick and 9 switches on the throttle. We're flying twice the speed of sound, pulling G's to the boundaries of consciousness and being shot at the same time. And that was my job, to figure out how to do that. It was clear that we're not going to get there using traditional methods. So let me go back in my slide here. I'm having a problem getting there. Oh, you're right. Thank you. Okay. So what I started working on to solve this problem was two things. One is, how can we actually aim things by aiming our head? And so here you see the world's first head tracking system. Now I've lost my, there it is, right over here on the upper right. And you see the date on this, and then we also are working at the same time on a display system, a virtual projection, using a miniature cathode ray tube and magnifying, collimating that, and projecting to one eye of the pilot. So here you see Lieutenant Furness wearing the very first helmet display system, virtual image display, and over here, the first Lieutenant Furness wearing the first helmet tracking system. As a result, create what we call a visually coupled system, which is known today as really virtual reality, especially when you put that with a computer-generated scene. And so over many years and spending a lot of taxpayers' money, we started working toward this display, which was a simulator, what we call our Darth Vader simulator. And this was where we created a 120-degree instantaneous field of view, stereographic, 16-bit head tracking system, eye tracking, and speech input that was hooked to an amazing computing graphics system that was all vector graphics. And it took 9 computers for us to do that. And this helmet cost about $1 million, but it was amazing because that's when we switched on that display the first time, and we had this super wide field of view scene that opened up to us. And as we looked around, it's like you were wearing an IMAX theater. And so that was really the profound experience I had that, oh my goodness, what have we done? What have we created? Because it was like you were there. It was like somebody reached out of the picture and pulled you inside. And now you weren't looking at a picture anymore, you were in a place. And you thought about it as a place. And you remembered it as a place. So since that time, a lot of things have happened with me as a researcher and an inventor, scientist, because you draw a line here, and what happened was I became an academic. And one of the first things I said, okay, in 1969, or 1989, sorry, when I became a professor, nobody really knows what virtual reality is. No one knows what a virtual image is. So I invented this display, this virtual vision display, and it was patented in 92, then we started a company in 96. Or no, I'm sorry, 93, to start making these things. So what you do is look like ski goggles, but you put them on, and you see a 1 meter virtual image at 3 meters away. And you can walk around wearing a television receiver on your waist, battery pack, and you could watch broadcast television while you're walking around, wherever. And so that became the foundation of some of the early work we did. But it was limited in resolution, only one eye, things like that. And so I realized that, you know, eventually we're going to run out of pixels with these liquid crystal screens. Actually, we're still using liquid crystal screens and OLED screens. But we're running out of pixels still. And I decided really a better way to do this is if we scan an image directly on the retina of the eye, what I call a virtual retinal display. The idea is to take a photon stream generated by a micro laser, modulate it, and scan it so that it's the only place where the screen is on the retina of the eye. And what you see is an optical bench, an early version of this, where I take 2 lasers, a helium-neon and an argon laser, and we split out red, green, and blue light, modulating and sending that with a monofilament fiber into the scan head that projected directly on the retina. Very low energy, actually less energy than what you have outside, going outside in daylight. And what you can do is make the picture as big as you want to, you can make it as bright as you want to, and you can make it as high resolution as you want to. Unlimited. And that was actually in 95. I patented that. And of course the patent is expired now. So any of you can go out there and build this thing if you want to. But this is transformative. This can take the place of all of the virtual displays that you've seen in the past. Now, there's a whole side also of augmented reality. Augmented reality is where we are now actually seeing the real world and the virtual world at the same time. And so one student of mine, Mark Billinghurst, a PhD student in electrical engineering, worked on how can we see the real world and actually put virtual objects in that real world at the same time. Now, there's a couple of ways to do that. One is where you see through the display and you see virtual image superimposed that way. Another way is when you actually have a video picture of the world, like you might have with your phone, and then you create virtual objects that go in that. Now, Pokemon Go, how many have played with Pokemon Go in the past? Yeah, okay, Pokemon Go is basically a video-based augmented reality type system. So what we're doing is well, how do you interact with computers using augmented reality? And you see here is where we actually have this little girl looking at a card, this tangible card marker, has a symbol on it, and with this camera that's on the head, we use computer vision technology to track that, and now we know where that card is relative to the head, and we can paste objects onto it, and it's like it has super glue. It will stay there the whole time. Okay, so this was in 1999, and let's see, what happened after that? Okay, then we were starting to look at applications of this technology. In '93, I started working with kids, 9 to 14-year-olds who were building their own virtual worlds. They'd never seen VR before, but they were building these virtual worlds. And then we built this Starship project, where a group of kids would actually fly a starship, a virtual starship, that go into another galaxy, that look for planets that would support life, they'd send down virtual probes and work together as a team, and actually had a virtual shuttlecraft that you could fly out and land on this planet. We use actually images from the Mars imaging systems to so you can walk on the planet Mars. It was like you were there. And this was, again, is in 1998 period. We started a project called the VRRV, Virtual Reality Roving Vehicle. And this is, you see the van there, that we just take the equipment, put it in the van, and drive it all over Washington State and take it to schools. And also we had a second van, we took it around the state of Nebraska. And what we wanted to do was show kids what virtual reality was like. And there are about 150 schools that we had enrolled to actually make virtual worlds as part of their projects. And so over a period of 2 years, we had about 4,000 kids who had a chance to have this experience of virtual reality. Mind you, the technology was still pretty clunky at the time, but that was our attempt to get it out there. Now, along the way, we also discovered that VR was amazing as a non-pharmaceutical analgesic for pain. And you see the images here where the people that actually started buying my virtual vision display were dentists. And the dentists were giving this to patients, and the patients were going into a virtual world, and while the dentists inflict pain on them, right? And so the dentist said, wow, this is beautiful, because the patients aren't complaining anymore. And it's even worked better with kids, with the little ones who would play Nintendo while they're sitting in a dental chair. And then they would go home and ask their mothers, well, when can I go back to the dentist again? So I can play with that head. And when did that ever happen? You know, when you want to go to the dentist. So we started researching more in this pain area. And here's a journal article I think it's in 2000. I can't remember actually what date it is. The date's up there. 2000, yeah, here it is. Where we're actually using this in burn clinics for immediate pain. And now, of course, the technology is being used worldwide for that. And then, of course, back to the education. How children themselves, these students, can build their own virtual worlds to tell or teach other students about STEM subjects, for example. And we did a project at Robert Legal Staff Middle School I'll mention later on in that regard. Okay, so these are some of the things that have been going on, but remember that I'm just one guy. And I'm just a country boy from western North Carolina. And what do I know? But I was lucky, and I had a lot of opportunities to do some cool things. But there are a lot of other cool people that have been in this business, and I won't mention all of their contributions, but they're amazing. So, in a way, it's been a community effort, not just one thing that I've done. So, and this community we see here today is that kind of community that can be transformative, and what we can do with VR in education. Okay, moving on. So I've been doing this for a while, right? Here I've been in this business for, 54 years. 54 years I've been working on this continuously. And because it's so fun and it has so much potential. So what have I learned during this time? Well, let me sort of step through the things that I've learned. First of all, VR really works because it unlocks spatial memory. It is a way for us to get into our heads in ways that we never forget. And it does this by putting a place inside of us. And it puts this place inside of us, this three-dimensional place inside of us, by putting us in a three-dimensional place. Now, you will never forget this place we're in today. You'll never forget sitting in the audience or being on the stage and what it looked like. You'll always remember it. That's the power of this VR technology. You never forget. The retention is amazing. We've proven that over and over again, and that's why it's so great for education and training. Over the years, not only in schools, but in other industrial, military areas, we found that this is an enormous boom for training because of the retention. You never forget it. Over and over again with students, we've done 9 different educational projects. Every one of them, we had students that were failing in courses. When they were able to learn a module in virtual reality, they caught up with the smart kids. And when we tested them a year later, they were better. And there was nothing wrong with those kids. They just learned a different way. And that's the problem with our pedagogy today. We expect everybody to learn the same way. When in fact, many of the kids need to have a whole body learning experience. Probably a lot of you know that. Okay, what else? VR, just like we see today, is a transportation system for our senses. It can take our hands, our eyes, our ears, our noses, ultimately, to another place. Not only to another place, but another time. And also to transport us into something that's really small. We could inhabit an atom. As a matter of fact, we did that for one of our projects. And you can build an atom. Be scaled to the size of an atom and build it. Or you can make your interpupillary distance 1 light year and look at the universe in 3D with an interpupillary distance of 1 light year or 10 light years or 1,000,000 light years. Just think about that. So it's a transportation system that moves our senses. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Not getting it to work now. Okay, sorry guys. It's one of those glitches. Okay, well, this is good.
Tom, we're changing, you may not be seeing it, but we are changing slides for you.
Oh, you changed it. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm not going to change it anymore. Is that right?
No, you can keep trying to change it, but if you're having problems, we got your back.
Okay, you got my back. Okay. I did get my pointer back. So, quality is getting better every day, right? I mean, really, think about it. The quality we're getting for the price is amazing. And now we're seeing a lot of untethered systems, and the quality will just go up, and the cost will go down, and the weight will go down. Performance will, wider fields of view. We'll also be doing a lot better tracking of hand position, adding tactile displays and haptics and things like that. So we can look for that. It's going to happen. The hardware is going to get better and better. Okay, let's see. You're going to have to change it for me, or Al.
We have where it needs immersive tools. Is that right?
That's right.
I can't see it changing. Laurel, I can't see it changing.
Laurel, I can't see it
Okay,
changing.
here we go. Okay. All right. Now, of course, the biggest limitation of what we have now is content, isn't it? Quality content. And one of the problems, and that's what's really going to help us build this economy of scale. And it's the economy of scale that will bring the prices down and make it basically affordable for homes even. And especially schools. Okay, what's happened here?
Okay. Okay, Tom.
Okay,
I'm just gonna
Tom,
have a,
I'm just gonna have a.
I'm just gonna let Laurel know.
Just keep
let Laurel
going.
know.
Okay, yeah, but it's not
Okay,
changing.
but it's not
We can't see a
changing
thing.
in room one. We can't see a thing.
Keep going. We can see it room 2, and I think it'll catch up here.
Okay.
Okay,
In just a
so
minute.
the content needs to catch up, of course. And what we need in order to get the content to catch up is we need better tools. And I believe that the tools have to be where we're building 3D within 3D. And right now, let's face it, we're building content with CAD tools. And we're still using CAD in order to create three-dimensional virtual worlds. I believe the key is for us to build new tools, maybe building upon Unity, but these tools that allow us to use our gestures, use our speech, in order to create this new content much faster and with less expense than we have in the past. Now, another thing, I don't know if you agree with this, but my experience has been over the last 54 years, getting VR into schools is really difficult. Not because it doesn't work, we know it. There is no question about that anymore. It is ideal for education. The problem is the way schools are funded and the way decisions are made. And we have been fortunate in working with some innovative schools, but they are rare. And teachers are already maxed out. And here we're trying to stuff another technology down their throat. Unless they're believers, it's difficult to do that. So we have a real problem, not with the technology and not even with the great educational content we build and its impact. The biggest problem we have is actually getting it into the schools. Now, in the USA, it may be more difficult than other places because every school district in every state has a different set of leadership, makes their own decision. There is no top-down. So that means that we have to, in order to get this in schools, you have to go to every school district, which there are thousands and thousands. Now, in Europe, may be a little different. Or in China, you have a minister of education that says, we're going to do this, you do the top down, then maybe it would happen a lot easier than it would here. Daniel and I have talked about this quite a bit. But it is difficult. It is a big challenge, and probably the biggest challenge. It's not the hardware challenge. It's not even the content challenge. It's getting it in the schools. We also have as you know, this overarching feeling that VR can lift mankind because it can bring minds together, bring hearts together, generate empathy, all these kinds of things that we've never been able to do before. I remember when the Google Cardboard was actually distributed by the New York Times with several downloads of 360 videos. And what this did was put us in a place where these things were happening. And I'll never forget standing on that African field in Africa when the food dropped. The airplane was flying over to drop the food. I can even see it in my mind right now. And there I was with all the people who were really hungry and they're waiting for this plane to fly over the food. And I looked at their faces and I saw how they rushed to the food and how they distributed with their families. I'll never forget that. And that's the power of the technology for social good. Okay, now, one other thing here, though, that is a factor. VR is dangerous. And that's why I use the title, Playing with Fire. because we are literally playing with fire. Let me try to explain that. Okay. So something happens with this time before VR, we're outside. With VR, we go inside. We go into the computer-generated world. When we do that, we take our psychomotor and sensory capabilities into that world. Now that world has to match with our capabilities, with the way humans work. Oh dear, we just lost the slide. Okay.
We're working. We're trying to get the slides fixed. Here,
Okay, there
going
we go.
again forward.
Okay, we're good now. So
Okay.
here we have this guy, of course, putting his face to the screen. Now, what's going on in this person's eyes? What's going on in this person's brain? What's going on in this person's ears? Because now they're in a three-dimensional world that they think is a substitute for the real world. But in all of these headsets, including the one that I'm wearing today, and probably all of you are wearing today, all of the pixels in that headset are collimated to optical infinity. That means they appear to come from a distance, even though the stereographic cues that we get between the two eyes are not at that same distance. So we already have a conflict between our visual or vergence cues and our accommodated cues. This is not what the real world is like. So we're fooling the eyes. We're tricking the eyes. They are not working the way the real world does. Furthermore, we have some delays. I mean, they don't seem to be much, but they are finite. And they may be a few milliseconds, but still it's there. But people think it's good enough to get us by. Yes, it is good enough, but we don't know what happens after we use this for hours and hours and days and years and years. We have no longitudinal data on this. And we know for children who are developing, this may be a problem. My point in bringing this up is that we really have to be aware of this, because this is fire. Now, fire brings warmth to us, it can lift us, it can do wonderful things for us, but we have to respect it. It can also destroy us if we don't use it right. So there's not only the physical or the physiological aspects of this, there's also the content. What kind of content are we engaged in when we're in this virtual world? Because we'll never forget it. If you blow a person's brains out in a virtual world, you'll never forget it. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So, we are playing with fire. Okay, so this lad here is in a classroom, a traditional classroom, and he can't wait to get home to play Grand Theft Auto. So basically, schools are competing with what kids are getting at home, or what they get Fortnite, whatever they would do at home. And so schools aren't keeping up in order to get the attention, especially with subjects that are sort of difficult, like math, physics, chemistry, things like that. So what is the potential for VR to awaken, excite, lift, educate, and make learning fun for our students, and for that matter, for our adults? Okay, so being sort of this old guy that's, I'm 77 years old, what do I have to say to leave with you for this meeting and for the future?
Hang on, Tom just lost
on air. So Tom, if you're still here, if you could make sure that you have host tools on air is back on.
I'm on.
All right, is this awesome, you guys? Is this awesome? Yeah.
Tom's on air.
I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. He says he has on air. Well, we've lost him in room 2. Okay. So if you, Tom, if you could turn it off and back on again, I think we will sync back up. And I hope that will bring you back.
Okay.
And
so-
I just want to thank everybody in room 2, and hopefully I'm not interjecting here in room 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, just hit that on air, turn it on, turn it off. There you are, now you're back.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
You know, we've come a long way in the technology, but we still have a little ways to go.
Over to you, Tom.
Over to you, Tom.
So, can you hear me now?
No, I'm talking about here.
All right.
Next reality.
You know, Tom,
Mixed reality.
we used to
Mixed
think when
reality.
people were talking to other people.
Okay,
Don't you
everybody
love
all
us
right?
when it's-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
We thought
I
you
have
were
a
going crazy and
physical
talking to
person here
yourself.
speaking in my ear, so I have 3 speakers here in my ear. Okay, are you ready, everybody ready for the manifesto? This is this is what I think we should be thinking about, and as we're pressing ahead with this this whole technology area. Okay, let's see what happens here. First manifesto. We have to understand and appreciate that we're playing with fire. Not only in terms of the danger of fire, but the promise of fire. We're splitting the atom. We're unleashing enormous energy. And this can be childhood zen. This can be when we begin to grow as a civilization and do things that we've never been able to do before, because we're unlocking intelligence like we never have before with VR. Number 2, do no harm. One of the first things we should be thinking about is we don't want to mess up anybody. And we don't want to mess them up because we've screwed up their vision or because we've given them content which is either incorrect or something that we never want them to have nightmares about. Number 3, shun violence in any form. Let me tell you a little story. I was at a conference a few years ago, and this one manufacturer, I won't go into details, comes up to me and said, "Oh, we want to show you our newest thing, our newest system, and give you a chance to see it." And I said, "Great." So they took me back in their little secret room, and they put this amazing headset on my head, very nicely designed, good ergonomics, high resolution, good luminance, comfortable. It was beautiful. Tracking was amazing. It was really beautiful. And I said, "This is really great, guys." And they said, "Well, we're working on an app for this." And so the app was, I was in a getaway truck. We'd just stolen a bunch of money, and now we're trying to get away from the cops who are chasing us down on motorcycles. And
Just hold on. Daniel, if you could ask him to turn on air back on and off again.
Did you hear that, Tom?
And we're going to bring him back. So everybody,
Did you hear
hang
that, Tom?
on.
Did you hear that,
The
Tom?
joys of all this
On
technical fun.
air, off and on again, please.
okay, I did it.
Yeah. Loretta's done it.
Beautiful,
Well,
you're
it's
back
okay.
in room 2.
You're
Fantastic.
getting chased by the cops, Tom.
Okay. So let me continue the
You're
story.
getting chased by the cops.
You're getting chased
So-
by the cops.
Being chased by the cops. And so I'm sitting in the left-hand seat because we're in England, actually, at the time. I think this heist was in London. And so I had an Uzi in my hand and a bunch of clips sitting on the dashboard. And these cops would go by, and I would blow them off their motorcycles. Blood and guts and gore, you know, the whole business. So, and it was really realistic. The bullet holes going through the glass. I was over here talking to the driver and all this. I mean, it was really realistic, very realistic, great quality. But after I got finished and I took the headset off, and they said, "Well, what did you think? What did you think about it?" I said, "Really, guys, really? You've spent all this effort on this amazing technology to get bandwidth to the brain, and what are you doing with it?" You're practicing and you're entertaining people by blowing people's brains out. Can't we do better than that? They said, oh yes, but this is what people want. I said, I don't believe it. I don't believe that's what people, certainly that's not what kids do. All the kids that I've worked with in my career who built their own virtual worlds, there's been no violence in it. As a matter of fact, you have the kids around a table and they're trying to decide what kind of world they're going to build. And they start saying, well, the boys would say often, well, let's shoot this or let's shoot that. And the girls would say, why would you want to do that? You have a chance to build a new world. Why would you want to do that? And the boys would say, yeah, why would we ever want to do that? And the worlds have been beautiful. They've been whimsical. They've been delightful.
Okay.
No violence.
We're looking into why this is happening. Daniel, again, if you could have him hit the on air twice, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Off air and on air. Thank you for your patience, guys.
Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We'll return to your regularly scheduled program in just one
it says
moment.
going off air
Doing
in
the best we
22
can.
seconds.
Oh wait, going off air.
Do you know we've also
Going off
extended
air in
the event for another 15 minutes?
Okay.
Yeah, the room is closing, so we've extended the time slot here for another 15 minutes, Tom, so you can keep going. Now we see you. Thank you.
How you doing, Tom?
How you doing, Tom?
It says
You
going
back
off
on
air in 19. Now stuck there.
Yeah, we've extended it, so we're hoping that will continue on. So keep going.
What man? I did.
All right. Isn't this lovely mixed realities? This is real mixed reality. This is real mixed reality, guys. We'll get there.
Okay. Oops. So, nope, he's crashed. So we will get him back as soon as we can. So do know that we are going to be extending the event a few more minutes, about 15, 20 minutes, and I appreciate your patience with this.
Can we just get
This is awesome. You guys are so patient with all the technical difficulties, and you'll be restarting and coming back on air in just a moment.
Absolutely.
And
we talk about being pioneers ourselves.
So I believe he's restarting it. We will find out here in a second what's going on.
Right.
So Daniel, are you on air?
Can you hear me, Laurel?
Daniel.
I'm on air. Can you hear me?
I'm on air. Can you hear me?
There you are. Now I can.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Okay, there you are.
I just wanted to
Hi.
say, so big cards for Tom, please. And,
Yes, please.
So
He's coming back as fast as he can.
He's coming back.
we talk
about being pioneers, and we truly are.
Here we're hearing it from
the guys. None of us in this room would be here if it weren't for the work of Tom and his colleagues. And the work is done since the 1960s, guys. Think of that. And when he says we're playing with fire, I'm listening. And when he says, can we do better than shoot 'em up games, I'm listening. I'm not here for shoot 'em up games. I'm here to educate. So that's one of the many reasons that we've decided to partner up with Tom and the Virtual World Society, because VR for good and social VR, for me, that's the killer app. VR for humans, that's the killer app for me.
It's the killer app.
The killer app.
It's a nice play on words. Nice play on words.
Let's come up with a new term. Not the killer app.
What's a better term?
What's a better term than the killer app? Anybody?
The courageous app? I have no idea. We'll have to. All right. So here's a new challenge. Get on social media. Use our social media thing and let us know. Summit challenge. It should be called killer app. We need another term. So get on the social media and let us know what that is.
Right on Twitter.
Yeah. That would be fantastic. So
keep the ideas coming. Exactly.
Yeah, we need those ideas on our social thing. So Tom, you know how it is to restart and to reboot and get all of that stuff going. So
we're coming up to time
anyway, so he'll come.
Yeah, but no, we've extended it by 15 minutes. I'm hoping, and so I just want to know out in the audience. Give me some hearts if you are one of the speakers that's going to be coming up pretty soon. Give us some hearts.
Yeah, we got a lot of speakers.
Yeah, we got a lot of speakers. I love it. Okay, I only have one thing to say. I only have one thing to say to you. Follow what Tom's doing. Come on, try and follow that. He's raised the bar, folks. He's raised that bar. It's seriously, how do you even come close to this? And aren't we lucky to have people like him and Charlie Fink? And we've got so many innovators that stepped up and said, I like what you're doing, and I want to be a part of it. That is so incredibly cool. So, Dan, you want to check your email or however you stay in touch with Tom to see if he sent you a note while I do this?
Sure.
And again, I appreciate your patience. I want to tell you, the alt-space audiences are absolutely the best. As I shared with our volunteers, everybody needs to have backups in case something goes south. And so we had a lot of people practicing in 2D. That was fun. Watching them when they're used to being in VR, and people that are used to being in 2D practicing on the headset. So it was very fun. And I got to tell a year and a half or so ago, I was presenting an event, and the power went out in the whole neighborhood. It seems like some creative person decided to cut the trunk line for all the fiber optic and all the cable coming into our community. So, but I don't know that. All I know is there's no internet, and I'm getting messages from neighbors going, do you have a net, do you have a net, do you have a net? And anyway, I grabbed my phone and literally raced into my car. All right, I broke a few speeding restrictions. Managed to get to a nearby hotel that at the time had free Wi-Fi, and I sat in the parking lot with my laptop and my headset in my car and managed to keep the internet going. And it is just amazing, absolutely amazing that I was able to get there and there were people still in the event space. So 15 minutes after, I lost power, there were still people waiting for me. God, I love you all because of your dedication. So we're still trying to get a hold of Tom because we know we want him back, and we're going to see what we can do. In worst case scenario, we're going to bring him back later in the week if all else fails. We always got a backup plan here, Also, while we're waiting, and I'm stalling here, I just want to let you know, it is okay to put a frozen bag of peas on the front of your headset and tape it on or rubber band it on, okay? Keep your headsets cool. Yeah, it's okay. I know it looks horrible, but it does work to keep that device cool. Any news?
No news.
No news.
Okay.
I think.
I know he's probably trying to get back here.
He probably is. Yeah, he probably is.
Okay.
And give him another 2 minutes.
Yep, we'll give him a few more minutes, and then. But do know that if the moment your device starts to say overheat, please give it a break. Don't try to tell us. Don't do anything. Just give it a break. Because honestly, having fried one, the smell just lasts for days in your house. So please, don't do it. It's an expensive thing.
Right, I think.
Any word from him?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I have a feeling it might be a bigger problem.
But can I just?
Okay.
But can I just?
So
how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? We're not well. We started the conference. We're off to a flying start. Couple of glitches. We're still rocking strong. Everybody good in the room?
That's it.
Yay!
That's it. That's what I like to see. Excellent.
Yeah, we got lots of love going.
We have lots more
so
good stuff coming up as well.
We have some great stuff coming up, and I'm having trouble getting to that great stuff. There we go.
Yes.
Tom! Is that Tom who had just heard? Nope.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right. So he wanted to say, here's the final points, but we'll try to get him back later on. And he is he is coming back with a panel in Engage, right?
That's right, Wednesday.
Wednesday he's on a panel in Engage.
That's right.
And so, I think these speak for themselves. When we really think about what it is that he was talking about.
Should we go to the next slide?
I did. Okay. Oh, please advance them. Yes, I'm up several ahead. I forgot that it's not synced. So if you could advance them in room one.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yep.
Yep.
We got number 4.
Okay.
We got number 4. I'm coming over to you over here.
All right, I'm on slide 17.
Treasure the children.
Oh, you're at slide 17.
Oh, you're at slide 17?
Yes.
Slide 17. Treasure the children.
And I think this is really, from everything that he was saying, I think this is absolutely critically important. And next slide. I don't think, he has a story to go with it. We can't Good.
Shows you the teachers.
I
Shows you the
love this
teachers.
one.
I love this
I
one.
love
Give me
this
some hearts
one.
for this
Give me
one.
some
That's
hearts for this one.
beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah.
That's love for you guys.
That's love
You know,
for you guys.
It is love for you guys. I think that is absolutely beautiful. And yeah,
I think
transit. Okay,
and
next
I
one.
think Tom's definition of teachers also extends to parents, because he has his own project. He would have told us about it. Transcend standardized tests. Is that the one?
Yeah, yep, that's what we're
Love
on.
to hear
And
what he has to say. Love to hear what he
we
has to
have,
say about that.
oh, absolutely. And we have some amazing teachers and educators that are going to be talking about how do you handle assessments in VR and AR? How do you really track that? How do you really work with that? So I think this is brilliant. Next one is build worlds that lift and edify. God, isn't that beautiful? And honestly, my heart goes out to all the world builders here in AltSpace and VR Chat and all the different places where we can build worlds. You guys are doing amazing, groundbreaking work. And thank you, because it keeps it all alive. It's so beautiful. And, you know, we do positive. Next one. Oh, beautiful one. Are you on that one in room one?
I just got a message
from Tom.
Yes.
The things.
The slides shut down.
The slides shut down.
I got a message from Tom.
I got a message from Tom, everyone.
And
true to form, just when you want at least. The rat lab where Tom is working from spontaneously lost all internet. So he's out and down and knocked out for the count. So give him some love, there you go, that's the way to could be profitable. But we had most of his call.
Oh my gosh. Oh, but anyway, I think this is a good one to end on. We will try to get him back here to talk to you all and meet with you all. But let's give it all up for Tom in virtuality. It's coming on the live stream. He'll be watching this. Thank you for Tom Furness and everybody. And thank you to oh, isn't this awesome? And to all the AltSpace staff and the volunteers and everyone who's been coordinating all of this. Thank you so much, because there's a lot of technical stuff going on behind the scenes. And we're trying to make it look easy for you. We really are. But we've had so thank you to everybody who's been sweating. I know I got some volunteers that are just drenched in sweat. So we have a breakpoint coming up while we reassess and refix everything. We have some. We have the VRARA panel. That's going to be amazing coming up, and there will be, I guarantee you. Okay, maybe I hope less technical problems with that, and then then our sessions will begin. After that, we're going all night long for you that are in the Pacific North, or in the North America, and for Europe it'll be daytime and you'll be rocking. Or no, it'll be middle of the night for you, and then daytime, morning, you'll be waking up. So thank you all for staying with us for as long as you do, and thanks to all the volunteers that are staying up 24 hours a day. All right, thank you. And we're going to keep our social event space open for a little bit longer. So please go hang out, meet each other, and you can find it under the events. I'm not going to do a portal. We had way too much stuff going on. So you just go to events, all, and it better be it's still in there, and head to our, oh, where is it? I don't see it now. Oh, dear. She opens her mouth, and there it is, the social lounge. It's on page 2 for me. So I'm heading there, and I hope to see everybody else there. Thank you. Thanks. You went off the air, Danielle, so I hope everybody's hearing this. Thanks. I'll see you in the social lounge. Thanks.
Okay, so hopefully everyone can hear me. You can either click on the bubble, but you can also click on the teleporter on the outside, which will take you straight to the social lounge. Hello? Oh, yeah. Sorry. No, unfortunately I had to fly out of town. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Emotional response. I don't think that watching violent things makes you a violent person.
Well, this
I
is
think
watching. See, that's the whole thing. This is not watching like TV. And I would even research on that.
Education for kids that was not just like so much of the education right now is just still getting them in everything. But that's so that in the past year with as to like Sean Maloney and that's on next. He's actually talking companies with and he's talking about like issues of like mental wellness, health, like the whole gamut. So, I think when things like Columbine happens, everyone wants to know what it is. I think the reality is like, the people that have like situations where they're going on with them experiences
a lot of times when I'm trying to work, I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at the dock and far enough in to be confirmed 20 and 30, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if video games that people see that from the standpoint that they don't realize the risk they're taking because they can be desensitized.
Yes,
I don't know.
on that kind of
today. reality is actually making us amazing. Hit your mouse inside. Feel it. Okay, hit your little ball for there. Hit your select button. And you close it. Okay. Oh, no, then you have the this pen. Then you have the light conversion. Word conversion is I'm just trying to create the most out of it. There's a lot of I think it's well, all media. This is good for those who play media. Right. It's dealing with facing your right and
Olivia, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, hi, I wasn't sure whether my mic was muted or unmuted. I don't know how to do that with the floating flying out. Well, interesting debates going on down there. Have you been down there in the thick of that conversation?
No, I just got here. What are they debating?
Yes. Violence in video games and stuff. So, before I think there was like this kid that was going up and getting the face of that blue guy, and
Violence in video games is a big thing for me.
Like boy basically around age 8 to 9, one is pretty sensitive. Right. Right. But that's being said.
they used the selfie camera. Yeah, so I was taking selfies during the session and the photos appear in your.
Thank you, brother. This is Steve.
Another one, but I have to actually go into my computer.
All right, you're welcome, man. Anything you need, just let me know. All right, guys. I'm sorry. The VRARA panel. Let's start, guys. If you guys can follow me over here, or you can take this one as well.
We were supposed to go over there and see if the teleporting works. So, if you hit
if everybody will click on the panel, we're going to go to the next event now. Let's have to start in 1 minute.
Hi. I'm very well, thank you. Yourself? Let me plug my headphones in.
Last call.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Yes, sleeping is out of the question at the moment.
If you guys can hit the panel real quick, follow me.
1 second. No, we've got
All right,
kind
is
of
everybody ready to go?
times
Get out of here.
But here we go.
Here we go.
Okay. Who have we got here? All right. Yes. Yeah. Should be a thing. You could even have a cup holder on your headset and to cool it down at the same time. That would be cool. Yeah, maybe. Not a good idea. Water-cooled headset. Okay. Great. So, all right. Now, who have we got? Who have we got here? We've got Carlos. Hi, Carlos. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Estás bien? Is he hearing me? Okay. Yeah. Is Carlos with us? Can you hear him? We got Olivia. Who? Lovely. I'm just wondering. We've got Carlos. Olivia. Olivia Wenzel. Do you want to come up on the stage, Olivia? Hi.
If everybody can still hear me, I'm going to post a portal again for the next event that's starting.
Yeah, coming up. Lovely. Okay. And Pat Owens, have we got Pat
So
Owens?
everybody would just
Yes,
click
Pat
this, and
Owens, I
everybody's welcome to
recognize
hang
the
out here,
beard.
of
Looking
course.
good. Have you had a haircut? Excellent, yeah.
Can everybody hear me now? Sorry. All right. If anybody's coming to the event, the VRARA panel over here, if you guys will click that for me.
Let me see.
Anybody else who's joining the event? All right. Anybody else? All right, guys, we're about to take off right now, and I shall be back.
Oh, so
I am your operator in the Captain Bray.
Okay, 1 second. No. Okay, sure. You got that? Okay. Is that coming? Wonder if I can. Okay. All right, just for everybody. Right. Let me just close this down for a minute. Close that down. Close that down as well. So first of all, can I have some hearts if you can hear me? Can everybody hear me over here? We've got some hearts. Okay, Julie, do you want to test your microphone? Okay. So just please bear with us a few minutes. We're trying to get the audio sorted out, and we're trying to get the slides sorted out. It's going to take a little bit. You guys can mingle. I suppose maybe if we switch, I'm going to switch your microphones on, so chat amongst yourselves a little bit. I can hear you, Julie. Yeah. Give Julie some emojis if you can hear you. Okay, what about Olivia? Let me see. Oh, Olivia, do you want to say something? See if we can hear you. Okay, you're having. I'm not hearing you. Let me see if I can get you. Okay, so Pat, yes. That's a friend. Let's see if I can. Right. Okay. So Olivia, will you look down to your bottom right and try and find the host tools? If you have host tools, can you click that? And on the host tools, there should be a megaphone. And if you click the megaphone, that will be the first thing you want to do. And then you probably want to. Pat, the same for you. Pat? Hey, are you? Yeah. Can you say something for me, Pat? You good? All right. Can everybody hear Pat? Pat, do you want to do audio test for everyone? Do you want to? Lovely. Yeah, thumbs up. Cool. Okay. All right, Olivia. If you look, yeah. Can we help Olivia here? Olivia, if you can find the host panel button, you should be able to click the host panel button and then the megaphone which says amplify my voice. Okay, loudspeaker for them. Ready? Okay. And then on the bottom left hand side you have the bubbles and the top bubble. Yes, hey, alright, brilliant. That's right, you have to drop it, yeah. Okay. And Carlos, do you want to give us a mic test, Carlos? Can you speak? Very good. You need to turn on your megaphone, Carlos. Can you do that? You need to turn on your megaphone. Come over here. Come over here. That's it. Yeah. If you look to the bottom right, Carlos, you'll see your megaphone. Or you see host tools. If you click on the host tools, one of those buttons says megaphone. Please click that.
Right. Well, right. It's one.
Okay. Yes. Okay, that's. I can hear you. What about the? So you have your 6 bubbles on the top bubble there on the bottom right. No, don't click mute. No. Yeah, there should be megaphone. That's the one. Click that. Possibly. Now, a little bit. Please, please look to your bottom right. Look to your bottom right. There's 6 bubbles. The top bubble is also, if you hover over that, you can increase your volume. Okay? Can you increase it to 3? Okay, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. And you have megaphone turned on, is that right? Lovely, thank you. Great, okay. Much better. Can everybody hear Carlos, everybody? Can everybody hear Carlos? Carlos, can you say something? Yes? Lovely. We have microphones. Excellent. Okay. I love you too, Carlos. All right, let's have a look at this.
Right. And between
all right. Loaded, secure, okay. All right, how are we doing with the slides, everyone? How are we doing with the slides here? I'm not sure.
Right. That's right.
Julie, can you send me the link? Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Right. Well, while we're waiting for the slides, why don't you guys come and take a spot? Carlos, do you want to over here? Olivia, want to just line up on the stage and we'll let Julie work in peace? Yeah. Okay. Who is this? Who said that? Sorry. Give me some emojis. Yes. Okay, let me try that. Okay, lovely. Let's try that.
But again, there's like flash-based products that come in that are 2D, and there are lots of people set up and so to compensate all this 3D package. They just do things like multi-window web browser. It's links to PDF, pamphlet, and little icon just like, a little Facebook page. So much better thing, But again, the one difference was the merger to 3D. And the simulation led to the difference is the intimacy of both chatting and video, even spatially, where there's some difference in the communication via a different body voice, on screen.
Julie, what you're experiencing is mixed reality. It's the multiverse. Yeah. Okay. But no, you'd have to give permissions, Julie. Give permissions to Daniel at Educators in VR, please. Thank you. Okay.
But again, there's a facial relationship that's existing which doesn't exist in Twitter or Facebook when people, instead of reading somebody's post, right? Right, when you join a group for a moment, you may recognize by mistake, right? Other time I'm going to do the sister group, you can hear what you're having and what's in the environment is ultimately on you. And that's not a lot to do with what happened.
Know-how of this technology to the conversations to help people build out those best practices, standards. I do lead the conversations every other week with Carlos and bringing people together and understanding how VR and AR is implemented into the education system. So whether it be a college, a university, a library system, a grade 5 classroom, a grade 12 classroom, we cover it all. So with our particular committee, we do not narrow it down into the higher education or K to 12. We talk about it in a very generic sense. So maybe I'll pass it over to Carlos, if you want to make sure your amplified voice is on and just do a little bit of an introduction. And then it looks like Olivia's just stepped out to reset her, I guess her microphone. Oh, there she is. Hi, Olivia. Maybe we'll just test your voice in a second. But Carlos, why don't you just do an introduction while we're finishing getting these slides loaded?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Julie, thank you very much. Hey guys, how you doing? You know, it's really amazing that we are people all over the world here, and I can imagine that at this moment, at this time, so many people can be joining us today to talk about virtual reality in education. I was really impressed about the presentation of Tom this morning or this night, and finally he was talking about we are playing with fire, and sometimes Julie and me have different discussions about that, how to succeed when we want to implement these technologies in the education sector. But there is something that is a fact, and we cannot fight against that. The industry today is looking for new employees, new skills, and new professionals that need to work with this technology, and that's a fact, okay? For instance, in the European Union, there were a study that in the next 5 years, more than 700,000 people will need to be expert in some kind of technology close to the virtual reality and augmented reality, because the manufacturers, the industry, the healthcare sector, the care sectors, all over all the industries are working on it, okay? And that's a fact, so we have to find a way how to implement these technologies in the schools all around the world. And this is one of our main missions in the Education Committee. We have our meetings every 2 weeks with people all over the world. We have our open sessions with the speakers from different sectors in the way that we want to leverage the network between the industry, the manufacturers, the users, the teachers, in the way that we can combine and we share the knowledge and the needs all in the global community. So in that way, we think that there are a lot of changes that have to be done in this new perception. For instance, when we talk about immersive learning, believe me, now I'm moving around the States, and I don't have the perception that this is immersive. I would rather prefer in another environment where we can talk all around us. And we are just in the opposite phase, which is real immersive experience, because we only have the perception that we are here collecting people from different spaces all around the world. But from our point of view, has to be something different. So just from our committee, we try to help the educational ecosystem to understand what is virtual reality, what is augmented reality, where they convert, the technologies need to convert, and how it has to be implemented in the educational system, which is really a big issue. So to do that, we have been working for more than 1 year, working in our best practices in education white paper. Now we produce, and we are working in a new one, the education industry ecosystem, and we are working on standards, guides to help teachers to understand the technology and in the way that they need to train the students in their environments. So in that way, today we are more than 250 companies inside our education committee. We are more than 4,300 companies all around the world. For instance, in Spain, we have very, very big companies working in virtual reality and augmented reality in education. For instance, working in simulations for different sectors. And, well, in that way, we will very happy to invite you to participate with us in our jobs and in our activities. So, okay, this was an introduction. I think that the best thing is just to go in detail how we can explain our experiences regarding our best practices or case studies from the members of the panel. Thank you, Julie.
No problem. Just a second, I'll work on that. I wanted to introduce the rest of the panel so everybody understood a little bit about who everybody is that's standing here. Olivia, are you able to say anything? Yeah. Or is your microphone working?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You see the host tools? Hold on a second. Do you see the host tools on the right-hand side there? Can you click amplify your voice?
Yeah, it's on.
It is? Can everybody hear Olivia? We've got some hearts so that obviously they can hear you. So I'd like to introduce Olivia Wenzel.
Yes,
Olivia
I can hear you. It's perfectly.
It's
awesome.
Yeah. Do you want to do an introduction yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia. I founded and I lead a company called AllTrueTech LLC. So I'm with a team developing a virtual reality application with the hopes of improving the quality of life of individuals with dementia. I understand there's actually going to be a discussion about this tomorrow in AltSpace. You guys should check that out. I'm definitely going to. But I also work with Julie and some other members of the VRA to lead the Student Education Committee. So I was out for a brief time. I don't know if you're able to mention this, Julie, but we kind of represent the next generation of the Education Committee. So we're also kind of helping shape those global standards. Our main focus right now is a resource for students and parents alike to kind of understand the basics of this technology, realize its importance now and in the future. So in terms of how it's being employed in the industry, like why should we care? We should care because it's affecting our jobs now and in the future. If we want to be leaders and be successful, then we have to take ownership. And yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something that's really important with our community of educators, and it's one of my biggest thesis is that we start to invite the next generation to be part of the conversations as educators. These students are so smart all around, and as you can tell, Olivia's certainly got quite a portfolio right now, but she's leading up the student committee, and we have some great initiatives. One of the main ones that we're working on right now, which we feel is very important, is the parent and student resource document, and helping parents and students understand the applications of virtual and augmented reality in the classroom. And we're going right to the heart of the home, where we can introduce the technology, explain benefits and how it will be used in classrooms, and we're actually we're building these issues. So we're going to be publishing hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we hope.
Yeah.
Right? And we're looking for a major sponsor actually right now to make sure that we can put these forward. And we want to see all of these go into the homes of every student, parent, and then the main goal for that is to is to get it into parent councils, so that parent council committees can share the information among their communities and school communities and that sort of thing. So really proud of our student committee, which is a branch of the education committee, and how much Olivia and the team is becoming integrated with the rest of the mission of our group. So we're really excited to see what this group is going to come up with, and how they'll start to work with us here in the committee, and advice from students. We've gone through years and years of education where we don't really listen to the students. We tell the students what they need to learn. Maybe it's time we listen to what they want to learn. Right? I'll give a heart to that. Get some hearts on that one. Now, where's Patrick? There you are, Patrick. We're still trying to figure out the slides, but I hope we're providing enough information just about the VRARA committees, and maybe just if you want to give a little intro, Patrick, on what you're working on.
Yeah, hi guys. Nice to meet you. My name's Patrick Owens. I live up in Vancouver. So basically, what I am is I'm a former educator. I spent about several years, about 5 years, teaching high school with the JET program, the EPIC program, in South Korea and Japan. Then I moved back to the States, where I started to become a healthcare training consultant, where I would teach doctors and nurses how to use software, essentially. And then really intense development and just VR-related learning in general. So what I'll be talking about today is a few of the things that I actually make on that program. They're all very education-oriented and education-specific. Actually, is very related to what we're doing today in the space, so I'll probably talk about that more then, I think. And then these days, I'm actually a project manager at MetaNet, which is a VR game studio. And they actually make a very fun educational game called Gadgeteer that teaches students, teaches people how simple machines and Rube Goldberg machines work. And so it's actually used in a lot of different classrooms in real life. I actually saw on Twitter today a teacher posted several of their students using it. It was really exciting. So yeah, just a lot of educational stuff, but I also develop and design VR applications myself. Yeah.
Thanks, Patrick. I think it comes back down to the fact that we need to support the teachers, and that's one reason why I invited Patrick on the stage with us today. And educators in VR is a great place for everybody to recognize that there's a place for teachers to discover more about how VR can apply to their classrooms. The teachers have a lot to learn, just like everybody else. This technology is very new for so many people, and the applications of this technology into your classroom, into different subjects, discovering soft skills applications, hard skilled trade applications, the evaluations, the analytics, all of those things. It's a lot for teachers to take on, and I think, recognizing that teachers are really going to move more towards mentorship in the classroom as we all learn together, and this is where the students come in and become part of that learning process of let's learn together, let's learn about this technology, let's see how we can learn more from it, and it become an experiential learning experience for not just the students, but for the teachers, so that they can start to use it and use it as a reference into helping students discover what their passions and interests are about. So one of the other initiatives of our committee is building a teacher's guide to VR and AR. So basically a how-to book. So we actually have Patrick's colleague Mary Lim working with myself to build this same document. So through the parent and student resource that Olivia and I are working on, we're actually taking a lot of that content, and we're pushing that into the teacher's guide as well. We recognize that many teachers are actually parents, so we started with the parent-student resource in order to find that baseline level of understanding of what this technology, how it will play in our classrooms, in our ecosystems, in our lives, and work and play. So, so the teacher's guide, we recognize as being a very important document right now, straight across the board for every single education system, to be able to educate and bring those teachers up to speed on what kind of technology needs to be introduced into the classroom.
Can I just check?
And some of them have never been dealt before. Yeah, we actually do see the slides now. This is great.
Does
Thank
everyone
you.
else see the
Yes,
slides?
yay.
Give me some love. Give me some love.
You got some love? Can we get some love if you guys can see the slides? Yay! We've got hearts and clapping and all sorts of things. So that's amazing. Thank you. Can you help me with the advancing of the slides, Daniel?
I shall.
If that's
I
okay.
shall.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's
jump past this.
Yeah, let's just move forward if we can.
Thank you very much.
Let me move forward.
Okay, let me move forward a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the stuff we've already spoken about, so we can kind of move quickly. It's already 8:25, so I want to make sure that we, can answer anybody's questions about the things that we're doing, and if anybody's interested in knowing more, obviously we'll host some questions afterwards. So if you can advance the slide, we'll get right into the presentation.
Tell me how far you want me to go.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay. This one?
This one?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I see.
I see. Right.
Let me try and refresh the browser.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we went to the next one, which is our profile pictures. And you know what? Oh, hold on. I might be able to move them from here. I can move them. I'm good.
Can everyone see her?
Can everyone else?
Okay,
I can move them.
Great.
I can move them and I can advance them, Daniel.
Lovely,
So,
you're off.
yep, I think so. Yep. So our mission, as we said, is to foster the collaboration between innovative companies and professionals in the VR and AR education system, accelerating growth. We focus on the industry standards and best practices, and we connect member organizations and promote services, creating value for everyone. So that just leads to how we start off every single meeting. I go around and introduce myself, as well as everybody has a chance to tell everybody what they're doing, what they're working on, and everybody kind of connects in. And I always tell people that the best part about it is jumping into this call and speaking to, for example, Carlos from Madrid, and usually it's Mary on the phone call, but Mary or Patrick from Vancouver. We have somebody calling in from Barcelona. We have somebody calling in from Colombia. We have people all over the world that jump into this call, and I get chills every time we have these calls, because I just think it's such a great experience to learn from one another. And we've kind of moved a lot of our focus of the calls to do these roundtables because we learn about where VR is being implemented into which library or which school or which grade, what kind of classes or lessons are being taught. One of our members recently spoke about how they implemented virtual reality into 25 of their college courses. And Rob Therio, I'm sure you're in this room somewhere. He's going to be presenting tomorrow. There he is. He's waving his hand. Hi, Rob. But you know, learning about how a local college has already started to implement 25 of their courses have virtual reality applications already into their curriculum is a fantastic study already. So I hope everybody has a chance to look up Rob Therio from Georgian College. He'll be presenting, and his talk will be truly valuable to everybody in this space. So I'm going to keep going on this deck and just kind of highlighting. We have so many members from all different continents. We have 24-hour online meetings, all different times of the day, and we basically have an international presence. So, sorry, Olivia, I'm just trying to my controller's right behind you there. Okay. So the members include everything from teachers, professors, librarians. We have operating platforms like Microsoft joins us, Intel joins us. They want to know what's going on in the education space. We have e-learning marketplaces, and they're also, you know, trying to grab bits of information about what everybody's doing. So it really is a truly multicultural, multifaceted journey that we're on with so many different people from different areas of education. So as Carlos was saying, we've built out best practices in VR in education, white papers, and we're working on different webinars and things like that to provide the value to the members so that, and some of the conversations are about device management. That's a big topic. It's a huge one. You know, sometimes we talk about soft skills, or, you know, we talk about analytics, or and all sorts of different things. So that's a lot of what we work on in trying to create these conversations that that interest everybody and apply to everybody as well. So let's see. A little bit about our members. We've got a couple of this is just a page about our education white paper, and I believe it's free to access. We're going to be publishing a new one this year. We do it every year, so we're just in the middle of collecting all of the data from our members, and then obviously curating that content of who everybody is. You know, we have Brendan McNaughton, who's in our audience today. He's a member as well from ArtGate VR. He'll be added to this collection as well. Vancouver Film School will be added. So there's a lot of updates to be done compared to 2019's issue. So just the objectives, just quickly running back to that. We discuss ROI, return on investment. We always discuss return on experience, which is ROX, if you don't know that term. It's actually coming higher and above ROI because if, hold on a second, sorry. ROX is return on experience. So yeah, how do you experience this technology in the classrooms? So we talk about networks and connections, understanding the different skills, jobs and training. Training is a big one. And that's kind of a conversation that could lead down another path, but we need to build the skill sets that are needed for the future talent that needs to graduate out of our schools and be built into and be hired into our enterprise and economies. That leads a little bit into a deeper conversation, but it's certainly something that we're discussing now. Or what are those new jobs that are out there? What are those new roles? What does enterprise need to do to hire tech teams now? And what are those job titles? So those are some of the things that we're starting to talk about now, and try to formulate what those key components are that everybody needs to look out for. So, okay, let's see. The committee resources.
But by the way, I don't know. I'm looking at a screen that still says mission here for the slide. I'm not sure if the slides are showing up correctly for you.
I see. Okay. Does everybody?
Yeah, Julie,
see...
I think in the screen it's still the mission. Yeah.
What? Really? So I'm like doing a slideshow for myself. That's awesome.
Yeah, but okay, doesn't matter. Okay.
I hope everybody laughs. Okay, everybody has to do a laugh there because that's not it. True. I'm presenting, it's working, but I'm the only one that can see it. Okay, everybody's laughing at me. That's great. No, I'm just joking, everyone. Okay, I that's why you guys. I don't know what to say then because it's working on a slideshow for me.
Yes.
Yikes.
The refresh is very, very slow. Okay, no problem.
Is it caught up? It sometimes
is it caught up? Sometimes it has to catch up.
Yeah, what I see is who the education committee members are. It just went back. I think it's on slide 6. I guess it takes time to kind of catch up. Well, at least you guys are kind of listening to me, right? Okay. This is Carlos's GC1 Digital Consulting.
I think we have someone controlling the
slides for you.
Okay.
Want to bring it forward?
We've got white paper.
There we go.
Okay. What slide would you want to be on?
What slide would you want to be on, roughly?
Slide.
Julie. Slide.
If you can 20, get to Carlos's slide with Carlos's.
Okay. Yes, it's going very slow. No problem.
All the other stuff is fine. I already spoke about all of that stuff, so.
Okay, we're jumping forward.
There we go.
Can I just
bear with us, guys?
Bear with us.
Yeah,
can I just say something?
Okay.
Can I say something?
Don't worry. I can start.
Can I share an observation?
Absolutely.
So I was just listening to
Julie there talking about the work they're doing as the VRARA and they represent a really important part of this industry, obviously. And we've been talking with Julie and the VRARA.
Basically,
it strikes me that you're doing really important work in the industry and the corporates together. And the educators in VR, we kind of started from the ground up. And then we were talking earlier about how we're collaborating. We partnered up with the ILRN, so the Immersive Learning Research Network. And between the three of us, and maybe the manufacturers, we really have quite an alliance there. We have really quite a group of people representing really most of the industry. I like the idea that we're all sharing this together. And Julie and I, we've talked about that a number of times. That the more we cooperate, collaborate, the more we all win.
100%. There's so many different groups out there, but they all, and we're all working towards building the same things and connecting into one sector. So. The VRARA is one thing, and then we've got e-learning guilds and some other associations that are starting to build. And yeah, we need to all come together, and I think this is where the global standards and best practices come into play of aligning ourselves with what those are. And those are the conversations that we have. I've been asked what slide we should be on. If we can get to Carlos's educators in VR, and then.
While we're waiting, Julie,
here's a quick question.
Yeah.
Carlos and Carlos and Pat,
Olivia as well.
Olivia as well. I'll ask Carlos. If any of the audience here wanted to engage with the VRARA, how would they best do that? How would they find you? How would they contact you? How would they get involved?
Well, it's quite simple. First, you have to be member, and once you are a member of the association, then you can choose. Well, we are structured in different committees and knowledge areas. Okay,
Yeah.
So that means that all your members of your company, of your college or your university can participate on all these committees. And then you can share your experiences and to make your presentations and to get in touch with people all over the world.
Okay.
As Tom said in the previous session, the rules and the laws in Europe are different than in China, different than in the States or Canada.
Yeah.
So you can learn a lot from this interchange culture.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, or we think, that this is one of our biggest contribution and our biggest value.
Yeah.
For instance, we have people working a lot in education in India, and you can see that in India, where we have been making presentations and activities with universities on Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur, they have a different culture, but they are moving very, very fast. For instance, I will tell you about an experience that we implemented 3 years ago for the Ministry of Education in Arab Emirates. That it was really an amazing project. So, for instance, and the other thing which is very important is that opportunity to learn from best practices and case studies.
Yeah.
So, one thing is the culture. You know that regarding the culture, it's not the same to implement some projects in one area with one culture that in the other. But you can learn quite from the parents.
Thank you, Carlos. Olivia,
how about
what
you?
got you involved
what got
in
you
the
involved in the VRARA?
Do you want to come forward a
Do you want to come forward a little bit
Do you
there,
want to walk
Olivia?
up? Yeah,
You
there
want
we
to walk
can
up?
see where
Yeah, there we can see where.
What made you decide
So
or how
what
Can you
made
hear me?
you decide or how?
Can we hear
Yeah,
Olivia?
can we hear?
Yeah,
can we hear
perfect,
Olivia?
perfect.
Yeah.
So
Lovely.
how did you get involved?
Yes,
how
yes,
did you get
perfectly.
involved with the VRARA?
You're good, Olivia. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. So when I first conceptualized that virtual reality application I talked about for individuals with dementia, I met with someone named Ronaldo Zabala, who heads the Cleveland chapter and also is working with Julie on this committee. And so after I had a couple of meetings with him, he actually introduced me to the association and then asked if I would co-chair the committee. And from there, the rest is history.
Fantastic. Love that
Fantastic.
How
Love
about you,
that
Pat?
story.
How did you get
How about you,
involved
Pat?
with the
How did you
VRARA
get
in the
involved with the
beginning?
VRARA in the beginning?
Yes, so actually I'm not a VRARA member. However, Mary Lim, who works at VFS, is, and so that's how I came up here today. After contacting with Julie about this. However, I was able to present at the VRARA Global Summit. That's a mouthful. And through that, it was just kind of an application process and making some work and being able to show it off.
Excellent.
Excellent.
I know, Julie,
And
you've been
I know,
a member
Julie,
of the
you've been a member of the
VRARA
VRARA for a while, but I'm wondering how you first got involved.
What brought you to the VRARA?
What brought you to the VRARA?
I became involved about 2 years ago. So I hold a couple of different roles. It was through a little bit more of the enterprise side, but then I kind of fell back into the education. I'm also the co-president of the Toronto chapter. So all the cities have different chapters. Carlos is president of the Madrid chapter, and I run the Toronto chapter. So I've become more and more involved with education, and then we started the student committee. Both Carlos and I are also on the training committee, and I'm a part of the 5G committee as well. And I joined to learn. I joined, I didn't go to school like many other people didn't. I actually went to school for hotel management. So I always laugh at that and where I am today because I didn't go to school for education or to be an educator, but it's certainly my true passion now, and my personal mission is to democratize.
Wonderful. I think you said there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
You were saying about that you fell into the education track. And one thing that educators in VR were really keen to see more of is more of the
is more of training
is
in
more
VR. So
of
we've,
training in
sorry,
VR. So we've concentrated quite a lot on education in VR. I think for me because it's more accessible and approachable.
I'd love to see
but I'd love to see a lot more
training
in VR being shared in our events here as well. So if anybody
yeah,
out
I think
there
we're gonna
has
start to see a lot of overlap of training into education because
Yeah.
we need to prepare our students for their future of work, and we need to be able to do. It's the future of work. I don't like to use future of work in a sense that it's not here yet because it actually is. But for those students who are going through school, it's their future of work. And we need to start to prepare those students to be prepared for their future. And with that, what training comes with that? Well, it comes with an education based, and that's why we're all sitting here today, is to figure out where do we begin with this technology. And educators in VR seems like a really good place to be.
It's a good place to be for now.
It's a good place to be for now.
Give me some
let me see, smiley faces if you are working with students who are looking for their future careers. Anybody here working with VR and students who are considering their next job? Okay, lovely.
Quite a few people.
That's quite a few people.
Excellent, yeah, great.
Excellent, yeah, great.
And,
okay.
Are we able to go to the next slide?
Somebody's controlling the slides, very helpful.
Yeah, somebody's controlling. Maybe go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It works.
Yeah, wonderful. It works. Isn't it beautiful when it works?
All right, so this is one digital.
All right, so this is one digital consultant. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Want to step forward?
Yes, please. You can go to the next slide because I think I do prefer to talk about case studies and real experiences, and to share with all of you is better than to talk about my company, you know, and because it's not the issue. Okay, and then I will focus on, let's say, for me, the two most important projects where we have been working during the past years. One is the program, we call it Schools of the Future. That means it's a program to implement in schools around the world where they have an entrepreneurial and an innovative, creative will available to the educational community. This is a 6-month program where we facilitate to the community methodologies, pedagogy, training, contents, assessments, and the statistics. We made the evaluation of the results of the project.
Wonderful.
For this implementation program, we use our platform, which is Smart Education Labs, which is an environment that now we are working with HP and Microsoft to create a 3D immersive experience where the students can interact with different kind of contents like STEM labs, like videos, like experiences, in the way that they can create solutions for real life problems. That means that the methodology that we implemented is actions-based learning. That means that it's not the issue is not the virtual reality or augmented reality technology, it's how we teach the students to resolve their real life problems. That means that they need to understand the concept, they need to design a solution, and they need to understand the technology, to combine the technology to produce something reliable, like a bridge or to resolve a chemistry problem or mathematics problem or something like that.
To solve a real world problem, is that what it is?
Yeah, but only as a part, okay? Because then you need a CD system, you need artificial intelligence, or you need 3D printers to produce your pilots or whatever, okay?
Yeah,
so
got it.
I was working for many years as consultant for the Ministry of Education in Spain. We started 15 years ago with the Digital Education Program. That was an initiative for the European Commission, and it was implemented in Spain to create digital content for all the public sector, for the educational community. And with this experience, we moved to the Gulf region, and we were talking with the Ministry of Education of United Arab Emirates, and we designed a prototype of, we call it a Smart Education Program. This Smart Education Program the idea was how to define new environmental ecosystems where the students have all the different resources just to build their own solutions. So how to move from the theory to the reality, okay? In that project, the key issue was how to train the teachers to understand the technology and to provide real value for the students. Imagine the culture problems and the culture issues, and in the way that this project started years ago, and it was ended the last year, implemented in the 12 schools for the Ministry of Education.
That's amazing, wow.
Okay,
That's
and
amazing.
the last one
Yeah.
that I want to share with you is for me, please, hearts, I need hearts, you know, it's really early in the morning, I need some hearts from your side. Yes, please, thank you. I feel groovy, yeah. I will share my real favorite project. This was a real project coming from the analysis of the future skills and the demands of the society and the industry in the European Union. As I told you, more than 100,000 people with the skills of virtual and augmented reality is a real demand from the industry. So the European Union started to define a project where they call it Jobs for Tech, where the idea was to design a new paradigm in the way that we had with the collaboration of different vocational training centers from Germany, Estonia, Lithuania, and Spain. At the end, there were 20 vocational training centers. We had to develop a soft skills and virtual reality integrated curriculum in the way that we design a complete methodology to train the teachers in the way that they need to understand the technology from the horizontal place to the vertical place, okay? So this project started 2 years ago, and we developed the complete content, the complete curriculum, and it was implemented during the last year in the 4 different countries.
Amazing.
Now we have some results, and the methodology was that this methodology has to resolve the problems of all the teachers in the different countries, and just to share the same experience with the students.
Carlos?
And the students made evaluation of the program. Okay? And now we got the results.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Is the research available for people to read?
Yes, I can share.
Wonderful.
I think I will share in Twitter or in the social media all these videos and all these materials because it's open for the community.
End of the session, Carlos. Do you mind? I just want to ask maybe Pat and Olivia a couple more questions.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Let's give some hugs for
okay,
Carlos.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very
If
much.
you want to connect with him through the VRARA.
Thanks for the heart. Thank you.
Yeah, just share a little bit more with us about what you do, will you, Pat?
Yes, sure. So whoever's controlling the slides right now, I actually can't see the screen, but if you can go to where it just says Gadgeteer, and then give me some hearts when you guys see the word Gadgeteer.
Yes. Did you build that?
Yes. Did you build that?
All right, awesome. No, so as I said, I'm currently a project manager for a company called MetaNaut. We built this. This is recently just voted as, or recently listed as one of Forbes' top 50 VR games. But it's a physics-based chain reaction game, and it's actually used a lot in classrooms. It's not really what I wanted to talk about today. I just want to make you guys aware of its existence. If you're a teacher, this is like a fun educational way to show off VR in a very educational setting, I think. If we can go 2 more slides, and I can't see anything again, but you should see like a teacher in a podium area, kind of like this. Once you see that, go and give me hearts.
Yeah.
All right, awesome, cool. So this is one of the projects that I built when I was over at Vancouver Film School, which we call VFS. It's actually, in some ways, a competitor to what we're standing in right now, All Space VR. As you guys have noticed, it's very hard to kind of set up a VR conference and get people on stage talking, a lot of different people in a lot of different areas. So there's several other, programs kind of tackling these problems. A lot of them are up on this wall, actually. Hubs is a really great one. It's a very fast way to log in and engage, and I believe Rumi as well. They're both very education-based, kind of pseudo versions of this type of networking software. However, what all of these guys kind of focus on are remote learning, or remote kind of distance learning. So, right now, all of us are here from around the world in this room together. It's really cool. It's crazy technology that we're able to do this. However, what I'm more interested in as a teacher is I'm interested in in-person learning. Most educational in-person stuff right now is an individual. Sorry, do you have a question, or you're just raising your hand? All right, cool. So most educational in-person stuff right now is a standalone one-person experience where they learn about the Titanic, and it's a really neat, really educational experience. However, sometimes as a teacher, you want to be able to take your students on like a field trip, or kind of show them spatially how tall a certain building is, or where it's located. So what I've done is I've actually created this program. It's called Preceptor. I don't know if you guys can actually see it. I'm just having faith. And what it does is basically streamlines the process of bringing students and teachers into a room. It doesn't require internet. It's on a LAN. And people can access it through either a VR headset, or if you don't have enough VR headsets in that space, then also you can access it through a mobile phone, or a 3-DOF headset, a 6-DOF headset, or even your PC. So it's a lot about accessibility, because people don't have all that software and all that hardware in classrooms yet. Another big focus of it, besides just being in-person dedicated as opposed to remote, and another and besides being cross-platform, is that it's very focused on giving only the teacher control of the environment. So right now, all of you guys can walk around this room, you can cause havoc, you can do whatever you want. As a host, I have very limited options as to what to do in Alt Space VR. I'm sure Engage and Rumi, they're a bit more focused. But I think it's really important to basically give the teacher a sandbox environment where they can make things appear as they're talking about it, change the environment without making everybody unload and reload into a new space. And so that's kind of one of the biggest things I do. So they have this invisible menu. The teacher has an invisible menu where they can pull up any model they want. But the students have very limited abilities. They basically spawn into any of these seats in the front row, or wherever's an available seat. They have emojis, just like you guys are using hearts as well. But that's their main form of communication. Because everybody's physically in the same room, we don't need any microphone work. And if a student has any troubles with any of their headsets or anything, the teacher's there to help them out. Another big thing is having the teacher in a AR headset, like a Magic Leap or a HoloLens, as opposed to a VR headset, so they can actually physically see the students, both in real world and virtually simultaneously. So I've actually been able to test this in an elementary school, and I've been able to, sorry, my wife is pushing me out of the way right now. I think she's trying to get to my phone. Yeah, but basically I went to an elementary school and actually had 15 different kids in different headsets. There was a group of students on a mobile phone. Some of them were just working on a projector, but actually like 13 kids together in the same space, both in VR, but also in the real world as well. It was a really interesting experiment, and I'm going to continue to work on this as well. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about. So yeah, I guess we're running out of time. I'll pass this off to Olivia.
Okay. So I already talked a decent bit about what we're kind of building, but I guess I'll go into a little more detail for the next couple of minutes that we have. So basically, again, we're creating this resource for parents and students. So Julie put it really well. There are kind of 3 areas that we need to touch on as innovators in education, thought leaders in this area, I suppose. So we're supporting the parents, we're supporting the students, and we're supporting the teachers. So the Student Education Committee specifically is focusing on the students and the parents. So when we don't, while not all teachers and students necessarily have access to this amazing technology in the classroom, we want to be able to supplement what they're not getting in the home. And some of the basics in order to do that is literally teaching them what even is virtual reality, what even is augmented reality, introducing some applications that they can try out at home, but still being clear that this isn't actually the full extent of what the technology can do, so we don't sort of further the stigma or the stereotypes around the capabilities of the technology. And yeah, so it's really all about empowering our students and our parents so that they can work with educators and work with industry, both now and in the future, in order to be successful and to be leaders. Yeah. So also, as Julie mentioned, we are looking for a sponsor for this resource. The goal is to release monthly, and we do have a lot of the content curated, but we really are looking for a sponsor. So if anyone has any ideas or leads, please reach out to us, because we're struggling a little bit on that part. But yeah, the content is there, and we know the demand and the need is there. So it's just kind of bridging that gap and helping people out. Yeah, and then also another thing I want to piggyback on Julie, or we're running out of time. What Julie mentioned really quickly, which is awesome. You know, she majored in hotel management, and here she is doing amazing things. Really, the resources are out there. If you have the will and the desire to learn and to take charge, there are the resources out there. So we're kind of putting this together in a sort of cohesive format to hopefully help it become less overwhelming, especially for those who maybe had not as much exposure to this kind of technology.
Thank you so much, Olivia.
Thank you so much, Olivia.
Thank you. All right.
Sure.
All right. I think we're getting close.
That's
to
great, Olivia.
close to
yeah,
time.
I think we're close to time, but I have to do this.
Go on.
Yeah, just quickly, I need to take a selfie. We have to have a selfie here. Who's taking a selfie? So I'm going to stand here. Stand here.
Stand here.
I'm going to stand right here.
Everybody get ready to make emojis.
Everybody get ready to make emojis.
Yep. Everybody get ready.
Come on in, guys.
Here we
Come
go.
on in, Pat and Carlos.
Yeah, you guys come stand right next to Daniel there, and then I'll turn around and do this one.
Carlos, come stand here.
Carlos,
Okay, you
come
ready?
stand here. Pat right here. Okay. That's it.
Yeah,
Olivia, can you stand there so that you can get them? Actually, you know what? If they're up there.
Yeah,
all right, everybody.
Yeah, you can
Ready? Here goes my selfie.
Okay,
Say
selfies,
3,
guys.
2, 1.
Selfies, guys.
Emojis.
Emojis.
Oh, I'm gonna have to just hold on 2 seconds. I'm gonna do one more from over here. Everybody start doing your emojis.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Cheese. Yay.
All right.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for having us. If anybody has any questions regarding the association, Carlos and I are available. I think we're going up to the social room now, right? And then if anybody has any questions, we'll be out there.
Absolutely.
And Olivia's there as well. If anybody's interested in jumping into one of our education calls, contact Carlos and I directly. We have to invite you in as a guest for one of our sessions. But thanks very much, everybody, for having us today.
Wonderful.
And all the power to you in education. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you so much, Julie. Let's give a big round of applause to the VRA, to Carlos, to Olivia, and of course to Julie. Thank you so much for joining us here. Before you guys go, I just wanted to say once again, it is really, we all stand to gain when we work together. And having people like the VRARA come and, engage with us and be in immersive learning research network, we're bringing everybody together. I think
really exciting year. This is how we grow this thing.
This is how we grow this thing, by collaborating, by reaching out, by working together. We grow this for ourselves, we grow this for our students. So please, give it up one more time for the VRARA, and let's see more great stuff from you guys, okay? Thank you so much.
All right, now,
I think I'm going to try and drop a portal.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Going to try and drop a portal to, let me see, to the social space. Let's have a look. We can do that.
Should be able to do that.
Should be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we come here.
Yeah, we come here, and then
worlds, where are we?
Worlds, where are we?
Worlds, where is it? The virtual language.
The virtual language.
In my events.
In my events. Let's have a look.
have a look.
Let's have a
I
look.
haven't got the
I haven't got the social space.
I've got all kinds of other
We've
events.
got all
but
kinds
not
of
the
other
social
events,
space.
not the social space.
Can we also go back out into the room in the hallway too,
I
Daniel?
imagine so. Oh, here
I
we go.
imagine
Social
so. Oh, here we go.
social lounge.
Social lounge. Social lounge. Yes, of course you can.
But if
Yes, you can.
click in here,
But if you click in
we'll
here,
altogether go
you'll
to the
altogether
next
go
place, yeah.
to the
Everyone
next
click
place.
into there.
Everyone click into there.
There you go.
There you go.
Try to get everyone, you have to click
Try to get
into the
everyone, you have
orb.
to click into the
That's
orb.
it.
That's it.
Well done, everyone.
Well done, everyone.
This is such a cool picture.
This is such a cool
Bye-bye.
picture.
See you soon. Hi.
All right, we've got 18.
We've
Anyone
got
else coming?
18. Anyone else coming?
Transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to step out too. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Olivia. Thank you.
Thanks,
very much.
Olivia. Thank
Take
you very
care.
much.
See you
Bye.
again.
Take care.
Thank
See
you.
again.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Bye.
There we go.
There we go.
Nothing happened? Okay.
Hi there. Have a look around.
Anybody here that wasn't able to click
Hey,
on the
Julie.
in time, I will talk down
Thank you
here
for that.
and
That was really
see you
cool.
at the after party.
Give us a hug. That was great. Well done. Ready. So, yeah, sorry about the glitches at the beginning. You know what? That's where we're at right now. Everybody knows. Everybody's good to go. So, and we're learning as we go as well.
Go ahead.
But no, thank you very much for bringing the people in, representing. That's what we were talking about, right? Collaborating. So thank you very much. Listen, I've got less than 4 hours to sleep until the next event, so I'm gonna go. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye.
Go ahead and just click on that bubble, then we'll be able to bring you safely into it.
So yeah, if you guys want to meet any presenters or talk to anybody from space, talk about ideas, anything like that, please do go to social lounge. If not, the event's now closed. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right, Paul, you ready to go? Let's go. Grab the camera.
Nah, I gotta do something else.
Okay, all right, Paul, let's go. 3, 2.